fellow time travelers to another journey back to a moment that shaped history. If you enjoy stepping into the past with us, remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. Now, tell me, who should we send next on a trip through time, and to what year? Let us know in the comments below. And before we fully plunge into our new adventure, I'm always so curious about our incredible audience. I'd really love to know which state you're listening from right now, and what time it is where you are in the world. Drop those details in the comments section. I can't wait to see them. All right, let's go. It's August of 1969. The place is Bethel, New York. She wakes to the low, resonant thrum of distant sound, a visceral beat vibrating through the very ground beneath her. Her eyes flutter open, immediately assaulted by a damp, earthy smell, thick with the scent of pine needles, and something else, something sweet and vaguely human. A shiver runs through her, not just from the unexpected chill of the early morning air, but from the disorientation. Her last memory was the sterile hum of her recording studio, the precise, controlled environment of a modern soundboard. Now the world around her is a symphony of unfamiliarity. She pushes herself up, her clothes feeling strangely heavy, rough against her skin. The roar intensifies as she clears the sleep from her head, resolving into a cacophony of voices, music, and the unmistakable energy of a massive crowd. She sees a sea of makeshift tents, tarps strung between trees, and thousands of young people, their faces smudged with dirt and a kind of fierce, hopeful joy. Mud clings to everything, a thick, insistent presence. The air itself feels different, charged with anticipation and a distinct lack of proper sanitation. Her sound engineer's mind, still reeling, begins to instinctively catalog the audio landscape. The distant music sounds, raw, untamed, blown out in places. The reverb off the natural amphitheater of the hillside is immense, but the clarity is struggling. She can almost physically feel the phase issues, the inadequate speaker coverage. It's overwhelming. Her fingers clench, searching for the familiar contours of a mixer, a fader, a mic cable. Instead, she finds only rough fabric. The modern assumptions about sound reinforcement, about clean signal paths and controlled dynamics, are instantly shattered by the sheer, unbridled chaos of this outdoor festival. She sees makeshift stages and hears music that is clearly live, unadulterated by the digital precision she's accustomed to. The rudimentary setup of the main stage, barely visible in the distance, makes her professional instincts scream. Her brain, trained on a lifetime of pristine audio, struggles to process the raw, unfiltered deluge of sound hitting her ears. She notices the colossal speakers, looking more like giant wooden boxes than the finely tuned arrays she knows. For a moment, She wonders if she could just walk over there, just fix it, instinctively reaching for tools that do not exist here. The overwhelming sensory input, the distinct aroma of unwashed bodies mingled with wood smoke and damp soil, the constant low frequency rumble from the crowd. It all starts to settle in. This is not a dream. This is very real. And her entire modern understanding of how sound should be heard is being fundamentally challenged by the audacious scale of this gathering. The weight of her new reality presses down, heavy as the damp earth itself, leaving her to wonder how her precision-tuned skills could possibly apply to such glorious, beautiful noise. She feels a deep, almost existential fatigue, not just from lack of sleep, but from the sheer effort of her mind trying to reconcile two utterly different worlds of sound, the abrasive hiss of static scrapes against her eardrums, a high-frequency assault that vibrates through her entire skull. It's a relentless, uninvited guest in the already dense soundscape of Bethel, New York, still teeming with life and music in this second week of August 1969. She winces, an involuntary tightening of her facial muscles, as if trying to physically shut out the offending noise. This isn't the clean, almost musical white noise she sometimes uses for calibration in her own time. This is raw, unshielded interference, a symphony of electrical mismanagement. Her gaze is drawn to the main stage, a focal point of her increasingly analytical frustration. She observes the array of microphones. Their vintage forms a stark contrast to the sleek, precision instruments she's accustomed to. Some are bulky, chrome-plated behemoths, others more modest, but all seem to be fighting an uphill battle against the elements and, frankly, the technology of their era. She watches a stagehand wrestle with a thick, unwieldy cable, clearly battling a persistent hum that pulses underneath the music like an irritable heartbeat. Her mind immediately jumps to ground loops, to unshielded lines, to impedance mismatches that would send shivers down the spine of any modern engineer. She finds herself gravitating closer, an almost magnetic pull towards the epicenter of the sonic struggle. Her body pushes through the languid crowd, past people sprawled on damp blankets, past the sweet and sour tang of marijuana smoke and overflowing latrines. The closer she gets, the more distinct the individual elements of the audio chaos become. She sees the large, hand-built speaker columns, clearly pushing their limits, the sound distorting at the edges. The sound crew, a small group of earnest-looking men, move with a determined intensity, their faces smudged with dirt, and what she recognizes as the universal weariness of live production. They adjust knobs on an antiquated-looking mixer, their movements deliberate, but often followed by a renewed burst of feedback, a sharp squeal that makes her flinch. Her internal monologue is a torrent of if-onlys. If only they had proper balanced cables. If only they knew about phantom power, about noise gates, about proper gain staging. Her modern assumptions about audio quality, about the inherent right of sound to be clear and undistorted, are not just challenged, but actively mocked by the environment. She sees them using what appear to be simple dynamic microphones, likely Shure 55s or similar, trying to capture the subtle nuances of a performance in a vast, open field amidst hundreds of thousands of people. Often in the pouring rain, it feels like trying to paint a masterpiece with a house brush. Her hands ache with the phantom memory of her own tools, the precise screwdrivers, the continuity testers, the digital oscilloscopes. She imagines walking up to them, gesturing, trying to explain the principles of phase cancellation or the benefits of proper cable management, knowing that without the vocabulary or the equipment, she would simply sound like a madwoman. The bewildering sonic assault isn't just external, it's an internal battle for her, a constant re-education of her finely tuned ears. She finds herself unconsciously filtering, trying to hear past the hiss and hum, to discern the raw talent of the musicians beneath. She's adapting, not by fixing the sound, but by learning to listen differently in a world where technical perfection is an alien concept. The exhaustion, however, is profound. Her senses are perpetually overwhelmed, her brain working overtime to decode and reinterpret what good even means anymore in this beautiful, messy, and sonically flawed reality. The rough, slightly abrasive canvas of the tent roof brushes against her face as she shifts, the cold, damp air clinging to her skin. It carries the lingering scent of wet earth and distant wood smoke, a pervasive chill that seems to seep into her bones, no matter how many layers she pulls around herself. It's early morning in Bethel, New York, the third week of August 1969, and the relentless energy of the past few days has begun to wane, leaving behind a hushed, almost mournful quiet. She pushes herself up, the ground beneath her a thin, lumpy barrier against the persistent moisture. Her temporary home, a small canvas dome borrowed from a surprisingly kind soul who saw her wandering, offers little comfort beyond shelter from the elements. This isn't the climate-controlled precision of her modern apartment, where every hum and buzz was either intentional or a problem she could solve. Here, the quiet is punctuated by the rhythmic drip of condensation, the distant crow of a bird, and the occasional, muffled murmur of voices from other lingering campers. Her internal clock, still calibrated to a different era, struggles to find purchase in this new rhythm of sunrise and sunset, unguided by digital displays or scheduled appointments. The main stage area, which had roared with an almost primal force just days ago, now seems muted, a ghostly silhouette against the dawn sky. The frantic energy of the sound crew she'd observed earlier has subsided, replaced by the methodical, almost somber work of dismantling, of packing up the colossal speaker stacks and coiling the mud-caked cables. Her sound engineer's brain, however, remains perpetually on alert, still processing the sonic remnants. She can almost hear the ghost of Jimi Hendrix's guitar solo, the faint echoes of the crowd's roar, the raw power that, despite its technical flaws, had been undeniably alive. But as the external noise diminishes, an internal hum grows louder within her. The chilling, creeping dread of being utterly lost. It's not just geographically lost, but lost across the vast, terrifying expanse of time. Her mind, so accustomed to logical sequences, to cause and effect, to measurable outcomes, struggles to grasp the sheer impossibility of her situation. She tries to apply a rational framework, to seek patterns or solutions, but there are none. There is no manual for time displacement, no troubleshooting guide for existence outside of one's own era. Her modern assumptions about control, about the predictable nature of technology and progress, feel like fragile myths in the face of this profound displacement. She watches the faint glow of cook fires in the distance, seeing the ordinary faces of ordinary people, living their ordinary 1969 lives. They are completely oblivious to the silent scream of an anomaly in their midst. A woman whose entire understanding of reality has been upended. Her professional skills, which could revolutionize their entire approach to live sound, feel utterly useless in the face of this overarching problem. How to get home. The thought is a cold, heavy stone in her stomach. Her ability to fix an echo or tune, an equalizer, means nothing when the fabric of her own existence has been irrevocably altered. A profound sense of isolation settles over her, a quiet certainty that the future she knew, the life she lived, is now an impossibly distant memory, leaving her marooned in a past that feels less like history and more like an increasingly permanent present. A grating squawk pierces the damp morning air, followed by a voice that crackles and distorts through a makeshift public address system. The words are garbled, indistinct, swallowed by feedback, and the natural echo of the partially cleared fields of Bethel, New York. It's late August of 1969, and the festival has officially ended, but its chaotic aftermath still lingers. The distorted voices seem to emanate from a battered speaker pole near what used to be a food vendor area, a lingering relic of organization amidst the receding tide of humanity and refuse. She instinctively flinches, her sound engineer's ears once again assailed by what feels like an amateurish attack on her senses. The message whatever it is, becomes a cacophony of confusion, an auditory assault of clipping audio and electrical hum. Her mind immediately diagnoses the issues. Microphone too close to the speaker, faulty cable, an amplifier pushed far beyond its capacity. Perhaps even a simple lack of understanding of gain staging. She can almost visualize the waveform, jagged and flattened at the peaks. The sheer inefficiency of the communication, even for simple instructions about cleanup or lost items, grates on her precise, problem-solving brain. She watches as a small group of people, likely volunteers or remaining staff, gesture exasperatedly towards the offending speaker. Their expressions communicate a familiar frustration, a shared helplessness against the technical shortcomings. Her professional instinct is to march over, to trace the cable, to suggest a different microphone pattern, to offer even basic advice on signal flow. But she hesitates, a sudden wave of self-consciousness washing over her. What good would her advanced knowledge be without the accompanying tools? How would she even begin to explain concepts like impedance matching or digital processing to people who are wrestling with vacuum tubes and open-reel tape? The ground beneath her feet feels different now, less a sea of mud and more a patchwork of drying earth and scattered debris. The vibrant, almost feral energy of the festival has given way to a palpable sense of exhaustion and resignation. She sees people slowly packing up their meager belongings, heading towards the dirt roads that lead back to a world she no longer entirely recognizes. The air carries the stale scent of burnt-out fires, damp canvas, and an underlying sweetness that hints at the lingering remnants of indulgence. The overall sonic landscape has shifted from a grand, if flawed, symphony to a more disjointed, unsettling arrangement of distorted announcements. The distant rumble of vehicles and the muffled chatter of dwindling crowds, her modern assumptions about accessibility to information, about the ease of broadcasting a clear message to a large audience, are constantly being dismantled here. In her time, even a simple phone call offers pristine clarity. Here, conveying even basic information is a struggle against primitive technology and immense physical space. It's not just the technology itself that's different, but the entire culture of sound, the expectations of what an audience should hear. The constant barrage of imperfect audio is becoming her new normal, forcing her ears to adapt, to listen through the distortion rather than merely hear it. She feels a strange mix of pity and admiration for the people who manage to communicate anything at all in this sonic environment. The persistent cacophony, however, reinforces a creeping fear that clarity, in all its forms, is becoming an increasingly distant concept in this strange, new reality. The kaleidoscope of colors, fading and muted by time and damp earth, still flashes before her eyes. Intricate paisley patterns, vibrant tie-dyes, embroidered denim, all worn with a defiant, almost joyful abandon. It's late August, week 5 in Bethel, New York, and though the main festival is long over, pockets of stragglers still linger, their flower power attire a constant, bewildering visual assault. She runs a hand over her own plain, contemporary clothing, feeling a sudden, acute sense of being out of step, of being a jarring monochrome photograph in a world painted in psychedelic hues. Her mind, typically focused on the precise wavelengths of sound, now grapples with the equally complex spectrum of cultural aesthetics. She observes the intricate beadwork, the fringed vests, the hand-painted symbols of peace and love. It's a complete immersion in a bygone fashion, something she had only ever seen in historical documentaries or vintage photographs, viewed with the detached understanding of a modern observer. Now it's her immediate reality, a vibrant, living tapestry of a time she doesn't belong to. Her modern assumptions about dress, about the structured, often minimalist lines of her own era, are utterly confounded by the exuberant, free-form expression of this one. She notices her reflection in a still puddle, an indistinct figure in muted tones, and the realization hits her with an almost physical force. She is the impossible anachronism, not the clothing, her sensible shoes, her practical, unadorned fabrics, her very posture, all scream of a different century. The flower power attire, once a curiosity, now serves as a glaring mirror, reflecting back her own profound displacement. Her precision-tuned ear, so adept at detecting the slightest imperfection in an audio signal, now processes the subtle social cues of this era. The way people move, the casual gestures, the relaxed confidence in their wildly colorful presentation. It's another language she must learn, a visual one, to simply exist without drawing undue attention. She walks past a small group sharing a guitar and singing, their voices blending in a raw, unamplified harmony. The sound is pure, unadulterated by any technical intervention, yet perfectly resonant in the open air. Her professional eye instinctively scans for potential acoustic problems, but her brain quickly catches itself. Here, the fix isn't about engineering. It's about the inherent beauty of the moment, the human connection. Her modern problem-solving methods, always geared towards optimization and technological enhancement, feel curiously irrelevant in the face of such organic simplicity. The lingering scent of patchouli oil mixed with damp earth and wood smoke feels increasingly less strange. She's adapting not just to the sights and sounds, but to the very texture of this historical present. But the profound visual disconnect, The stark contrast between her own quiet modernity and the vibrant, almost defiant self-expression all around her serves as a constant, subtle reminder of the chasm of time that separates her. It's a heavy, quiet knowledge that no matter how much she tries to blend in, her very essence, her inner attire of modern thought and experience, marks her as irrevocably from another world. The metallic ring of a dropped wrench against hard earth slices through the quiet drone of cicadas. It's early September, the 6th week in Bethel, New York, and the lingering residue of Woodstock's grand, chaotic energy has finally begun to dissipate. She has moved further from the main festival grounds, finding herself on the outskirts of a smaller, sleepy town, where life ticks to a different, slower rhythm. Here, a rudimentary stage is taking shape in a dusty field, framed by an old barn and a smattering of early autumn trees. This isn't a repeat of the massive festival, but a local community gathering, a harvest celebration perhaps, and with it comes a familiar, if primitive, attempt at live sound. Her eyes scan the scene, taking in the rough-hewn planks of the stage, the few battered speakers perched precariously on wooden crates, and the thick, rubber-insulated cables snaking across the ground. A group of men, their shirts stained with grease and sweat, wrestle with an old amplifier, its exposed vacuum tubes glowing faintly. There's a palpable sense of determined effort, a chaotic rhythm of hammering, muttered instructions, and the occasional, frustrated sigh. Her sound engineer's brain, still hyper-attuned to audio signals, begins to process the distinct sounds of this smaller-scale setup. The sharp scrape of a mic stand being adjusted, the hollow thud of a speaker being moved, the telltale hum of poorly grounded electrical equipment. She moves closer, drawn by an almost primal need to understand the sonic environment. She watches one man connect a microphone, a clunky, chrome-plated model, directly into a mixer that looks like it belongs in a ham radio enthusiast's basement. His movements are hesitant, guesswork rather than precise calibration. When a distorted crackle bursts from one of the speakers, making him jump, her internal monologue erupts with advice. Check the XLR connection, adjust the gain, test the line impedance. Her modern assumptions about audio clarity and efficient signal flow clash violently with the observable reality. This is not about digital precision or multiband compression. It's about making a sound loud enough to be heard, regardless of quality. She can almost physically feel the phase issues, the imminent feedback loops, the inevitable low-frequency rumble. She notices the sheer amount of cable run haphazardly, forming tripping hazards, a stark contrast to the meticulous cable management she practices. Her fingers twitch, longing for the familiar weight of a cable tester, a multimeter, anything to diagnose and rectify the brewing sonic disaster. But her hands are empty, and her voice, if she were to speak, would only offer bewildering concepts. The familiar sound she seeks isn't necessarily the technical excellence of her own time, but the underlying principles of sound production, the universal challenges of amplification. Despite the primitive nature of the setup, she also feels a strange kind of kinship. These people, too, are trying to bring music and voice to a crowd, trying to create a shared experience through sound. Their struggles are her struggles, albeit stripped down to their most fundamental forms. She realizes that her expertise, without its accompanying technology, must manifest as pure observation, as an internal inventory of what works, what fails, and why. The silence of her own knowledge, unable to be directly applied, feels heavy. It's a slow, quiet understanding that her path to adapting here will involve learning to see the rudimentary as the ingenious, and to find value in the imperfect. The rich, savory scent of stew, simmering over an open fire, drifts on the cool evening air, a comforting aroma that cuts through the lingering dust and dampness of the drying field. It's mid-September, week 7 in Bethel, New York, and the local harvest celebration is in full swing. She finds herself drawn to the warmth, not just of the fire, but of the easy camaraderie amongst the people gathered, the metallic clang of a spoon against a pot, the soft murmur of conversations, and the occasional burst of genuine laughter create a gentle, inviting soundscape, a stark contrast to the cacophony of previous weeks. She observes a group of local men and women, many of whom she had seen struggling with the rudimentary sound set up earlier. They sit on rough-hewn benches, sharing bowls of the thick stew, their faces illuminated by the dancing firelight. One man, his hands still smudged with grease, gestures towards her with an open, welcoming hand, indicating an empty spot beside him. A hesitant smile touches her lips as she accepts the silent invitation, settling onto the rough wood, the warmth radiating from the fire and from the shared presence is a tangible comfort against the evening chill. A bowl is pressed into her hands, warm ceramic against her cool skin, and the first taste of the stew is surprisingly robust, seasoned with herbs she can't quite identify. It's nourishing, a welcome change from the foraging and sparse meals she's grown accustomed to. Her modern assumptions about food hygiene, about packaged goods and sterile environments, momentarily recede in the face of this simple, heartfelt offering. Here, sustenance is shared, a communal act of survival and celebration. She listens to the cadence of their voices, the relaxed rhythm of their speech, understanding that while she can't share her story, she can share this moment. She watches their gestures, the easy way they pass a communal loaf of bread, The way eyes crinkle at the corners with shared jokes she doesn't fully grasp. Yet, a tentative bond forms, a silent acknowledgement of shared humanity. Her sound engineers perception, usually focused on the technical aspects of voice and music, now tunes into the emotional frequencies of human connection. She notices the subtle shifts in tone, the unspoken understanding that passes between them, the warmth that radiates from genuine interaction. Later, as the fire dies down and the group disperses, she feels a lingering sense of belonging, however fleeting. The shared meal, simple as it was, has offered more than just physical nourishment. It's offered a glimpse of connection, a reminder that even in a different time, amidst bewildering circumstances, the fundamental human need for community persists. She finds herself reflecting on the strange comfort of this unexpected warmth. The dust and chill remain, but the dread of being utterly alone in this past has receded, if only for a moment, replaced by the quiet reassurance that humanity, in its simplest forms, remains constant. It's a profound shift, a subtle recalibration of her focus from what she has lost to what she might still find. The acrid smell of ozone and hot dust, emanating from a stubborn, humming amplifier, pricks her nostrils. It's late September, week 8 in Bethel, New York, and the chill in the air suggests autumn is truly settling in. The local harvest celebration is still in progress, the makeshift stage still standing, but the sound system, a cobbled-together assortment of vintage components, has been temperamental at best, now entirely refusing to cooperate. The silence from the main speaker, previously a source of distorted squawks, is now a dull, persistent hum, signaling a more fundamental issue. She kneels beside the bulky amplifier, its metal casing warm to the touch, its vacuum tubes glowing faintly like tired orange eyes. Her sound engineer's instinct immediately kicks in, a familiar current of diagnostic thought coursing through her. She runs her hand over the thick, brittle power cable, feeling for kinks, then gently wiggles input and output jacks, listening for any telltale crackle. Her modern assumptions about circuit boards and modular components are immediately rendered useless. This is raw, analog electronics, a world of hand-soldered wires and physical connections, prone to the simple wear and tear of time and rough handling. She observes the faces of the men who had wrestled with this same equipment earlier. Their shoulders slump in defeat, their gestures expressing a resigned acceptance of the malfunction. One points a grimy finger at a cluster of wires near the back panel, indicating a general area of concern. Her fingers, accustomed to the precision of a jeweler's screwdriver and the grip of insulated pliers, now search for substitutes. She finds a bent nail, a a small, worn pocket knife, and a thin strip of metal, likely scavenged from an old tin can. These are her new tools, crude but surprisingly effective extensions of her will. With careful movements, she pries open a panel, exposing a spiderweb of dusty wires, resistors, and capacitors. The sight is both daunting and exhilarating. Her brain, trained in fault isolation and signal flow, traces the path of the current, visually identifying a loose connection, a frayed wire where insulation has rubbed thin against the chassis. It's a fundamental break, a simple loss of continuity. She uses the bent nail to carefully unhook the damaged wire. Then, with the patience of a watchmaker, she strips a fresh section of insulation using the edge of the pocket knife. Her fingers nimble despite the awkwardness. With the thin strip of metal, she fashions a makeshift splice, twisting the strands together with a firm, practiced grip, re-establishing the crucial connection. She then wraps it tightly with a piece of salvaged electrical tape, ensuring it won't short against the casing. A deep breath escapes her lips. She signals to one of the men, who tentatively plugs the amplifier back in. A soft pop, then a low, steady hum, clearer, less angry than before. A tentative guitar riff, almost a whisper, then swells into a clear, undistorted melody from the attached speaker. A wave of relief washes over her, a visceral satisfaction that vibrates through her very being. The men stare, their faces slowly breaking into expressions of disbelief, and then genuine awe. Her modern understanding of logical problem solving and systematic troubleshooting has found its application. Even with rudimentary means, it's a small, almost insignificant victory in the grand scheme of her displacement. But it's a vital triumph, a reaffirmation that her skills, her very essence, still hold value in this bewildering past. The silence that follows the music, now clean and functional, feels like a quiet promise of possibility. A hearty, genuine laugh bursts from her throat, a sound she hasn't heard from herself in what feels like an eternity. It's early October, week 9 in Bethel, New York, and the air holds a crisp, almost biting chill, carrying the scent of fallen leaves and wood smoke. She's helping dismantle the temporary stage from the Harvest Festival, an activity that, against all odds, has become strangely familiar and even comforting. The metallic scrape of a speaker being dragged across the ground, the rhythmic thud of wooden planks being stacked, all form a backdrop to this unexpected moment of shared mirth. She's working alongside one of the men who had been struggling with the faulty amplifier the week prior, a kind-faced, gruff man named Walt. He gestures expansively at a particularly tangled mess of cables, resembling a giant, electrical spaghetti monster, and then shrugs with exaggerated resignation. He then mimics the distorted squawk the system used to make, an almost perfect, if unflattering, rendition. A small smile had first touched her lips, then a quiet chuckle, and then, without warning, the laugh had erupted, raw and free. It's a sound that surprises her, startling in its uninhibited joy. Walt's own laugh booms in response, a deep, rumbling sound that seems to warm the chilly air. He claps her on the shoulder, a friendly, unself-conscious gesture, his eyes crinkling at the corners. There's no need for words to explain the joke. The shared experience of the flawed sound system and her quiet, effective repair has created an unspoken understanding. Her sound engineers perception, usually focused on the technical, now registers the nuanced social frequencies. The relief in his expression, the camaraderie in his touch, the genuine acceptance in his gaze. They continue working, untangling the massive, heavy cables. Her movements are no longer hesitant. She now knows the weight of the thick gauge wire, the stiffness of the antiquated connectors, her modern assumptions about efficiency, about having the right tools for every job, have been replaced by an adaptive ingenuity, a satisfaction in making do with what's available. She finds herself anticipating Walt's next move, seamlessly coordinating her efforts with his, a silent choreography born of shared labor and a common goal. This isn't just work, it's a shared puzzle, a challenge they tackle together. As the sun begins to dip below the horizon, casting long, golden shadows across the fields, the stage is nearly gone, replaced by neat stacks of wood and coiled cables. The air grows colder, but a new warmth settles within her. The shared laugh, that spontaneous burst of connection, has been a profound, almost spiritual experience. It's more than just an interaction. It's a feeling of belonging, however tentative, however unexpected. The isolation that had been a constant companion in this strange past has receded, replaced by the quiet hum of human connection. She realizes that perhaps survival here isn't just about adapting her skills to the technology, but about adapting her spirit to the people. The world outside her immediate experience might still be alien, but within this small, shared space, a sense of home, fragile and real, has begun to take root. The satisfying clunk of a rotary switch, followed by a clean, warm hum from the amplifier, sends a ripple of quiet satisfaction through her. It's early October, week 10 in Bethel, New York, and the chill has deepened, hinting at the approaching winter. She's no longer merely observing. She's actively involved in maintaining the sound system for a local community hall, a repurposed barn where small gatherings and amateur performances now take place. The air here smells of old wood, beeswax, and the faint, sweet scent of tobacco, a comforting blend that has become part of her new sensory landscape. Her hands, once accustomed to sleek digital interfaces and ergonomic tools, now deftly manipulate the heavy, clunky knobs of the vintage mixing console. She runs a hand over the brushed metal casing of an old tube amplifier, feeling the subtle vibrations, listening to its distinct acoustic signature. The initial frustration with the primitive technology has given way to a quiet reverence, an understanding of the inherent limitations and the creative solutions required to overcome them. Her sound engineer's ears, once so attuned to ultra-clean, high-fidelity audio, have recalibrated. She no longer chases impossible perfection, but rather a functional, pleasing sound, coaxed from equipment that has seen decades of use. She's learning the quirks of each component. The microphone that's particularly prone to feedback at a certain frequency. The speaker that has a slightly blown tweeter. The finicky input jack on the reel-to-reel recorder. Her modern assumptions about interchangeable parts and standardized performance have been replaced by a deep appreciation for individuality, for the unique sonic personality of each piece of gear. She's mastered the art of making do with less, using clever cable routing to minimize interference, strategic microphone placement to maximize gain before feedback, and even subtle adjustments to the room's acoustics with draped blankets to reduce harsh reflections. She observes Walt, the man from the Harvest Festival, watching her work with an expression of quiet admiration. He hands her a worn length of wire, anticipating her need, a silent acknowledgement of her growing expertise. There's a new dynamic between them, one of shared purpose and respect. Her ability to troubleshoot and coax clear sound from this antique equipment has not only given her a purpose, but has also cemented her place within this small community. Her skills, once a source of internal conflict, are now a bridge to connection. As an old record player spins a familiar folk tune through the now clear and robust speaker system, the sweet hum of functional, vintage gear fills the hall. It's not the crystal clear, high-definition sound she's used to, but it possesses a warmth, a character, a kind of analog soul that she's come to appreciate. She realizes that her definition of good sound has irrevocably changed. It's no longer about absolute fidelity, but about presence, about connection, about the ability to move people with what's available. The persistent longing for home still exists, a quiet undercurrent, but it's increasingly tempered by a growing sense of competence, a deep satisfaction in making beautiful noise in this unexpected, utterly captivating past. The low, rhythmic thrum of collective breathing, the scuff of feet on the wooden floor, the soft rustle of clothing. These are the subtle, ambient sounds that now form the background score of her life. It's mid-October, week 11 in Bethel, New York, and the chill from outside is increasingly insistent. Inside the community hall, where she now spends most of her days, the pulse of a gathered crowd, whether for a town meeting, a musical performance, or a simple social event, has become a familiar rhythm, a comforting, deep bass line in the gentle chaos of her new existence. The air, thick with the scent of old timber, kerosene lamps, and brewing coffee, feels less alien, more like home. She stands by the rudimentary mixing board, her gaze sweeping across the faces in the hall. They are no longer a sea of bewildering strangers, but individuals she recognizes, smiles she can interpret, gestures that convey meaning without words. Her sound engineers perception, initially overwhelmed by the sheer volume and lack of fidelity at Woodstock, has adapted to discern the nuanced mix of human presence, the rise and fall of collective murmurs, the sudden hush of anticipation before a speaker, the ripple of polite applause. These are all signals she processes, not just as sound, but as indicators of mood, of shared experience. She adjusts a knob on the mixer, a subtle tweak to the microphone level for a speaker on the stage. Her movements are confident, precise, born of weeks of intimate familiarity with this temperamental equipment. Her modern assumptions about audience engagement, about the need for constant stimulation and perfectly engineered sound, have been softened. Here, the act of gathering, of simply being present, holds its own profound significance. The power of a single voice, clearly amplified even through a vintage system, resonates differently. It's not about overwhelming the senses, but about facilitating connection. She watches as a local musician, a young man with earnest eyes and a well-loved acoustic guitar, strums a gentle melody. The crowd sways almost imperceptibly, a collective body responding to the shared rhythm. She feels the vibration of the bass tones through the wooden floor, a physical connection to the collective pulse. It's a far cry from the roaring, uncontrolled energy of Woodstock, but in its own way, it's equally powerful. Her skills, once focused on conquering noise, are now about enabling intimacy, about ensuring that every voice, every note, finds its way to the hearts of those listening. As the evening draws to a close and the crowd begins to disperse, leaving behind a lingering warmth and the scent of human presence, she feels a quiet sense of belonging. The initial fear of being lost, of being an outsider, has slowly been replaced by a growing ease, a comfortable integration into the fabric of this community. The pulse of the crowd, once a chaotic roar, is now a comforting presence, a reminder that she is not alone. It's a profound realization. Her journey in this past is no longer just about survival, but about contribution, about finding her own rhythm in a world that, against all odds, has started to sound a lot like home. The crisp, biting air, thick with the scent of damp earth, and the distant, smoky aroma of burning leaves makes her pull her borrowed wool blanket tighter. It's late October, week 12 in Bethel, New York, and the stars above are a glittering tapestry, impossibly bright without the light pollution of her own time. She sits by a dwindling fire with Walt and a few other local musicians, the embers casting a warm, flickering glow on their faces. The only sounds are the crackle of the fire, the distant call of an owl, and the low, thoughtful murmurs of conversation around her. She listens intently, her sound engineer's ears now attuned to the subtle cadences of human speech, the emotional resonance behind each word. The conversations flow easily, unburdened by the constant digital distractions of her era. They speak of dreams for the future, of hopes for a better world, of the power of music to unite and inspire. These are not grand philosophical debates, but honest, heartfelt expressions of ordinary people grappling with their place in a rapidly changing world. The Vietnam War looms large in their unspoken anxieties, and the pursuit of peace and understanding is a palpable undercurrent in their words. One young musician, a gentle man named Thomas, gestures with his hands as he describes the feeling of a guitar string vibrating. The way a melody can capture an emotion that words cannot. She finds herself nodding, a deep, silent understanding passing between them. Her modern assumptions about music production, about the meticulous layering of tracks and the post-production wizardry, begin to feel almost sterile in comparison to the raw, visceral passion she witnesses here. Here, music is not just a product. It is a profound expression of the soul, a vehicle for shared experience and collective longing. She thinks of the chaos of Woodstock, the almost desperate yearning for connection that pulsed through that immense crowd. Now, under this quiet, starry sky, she understands the why behind the music more deeply. It wasn't just about the sound, the volume, or even the technical performance. It was about the message, the communal dream, the desperate hope for something better. Her understanding of audio engineering, once purely technical, now encompasses a deeper appreciation for the human element, for the stories and aspirations that music carries. She sees how their rudimentary equipment, which she had initially scoffed at, became powerful conduits for these dreams. As the fire dwindles further and the conversations grow softer, she feels a profound connection to these people and their earnest, hopeful world. The fear of being lost in time has not vanished, but it is overshadowed by a growing sense of purpose, a quiet acceptance of her role in helping these voices be heard. She reflects on the vastness of the sky, the endless march of time, and the small, significant spark of human connection that transcends both. The dreams behind the music, whispered under the stars, resonate within her. A new kind of frequency she never knew she needed to tune into. The swirling blues and oranges of a sun-faded tie-dye shirt catch her eye, a vibrant ripple of color against the drab browns and grays of the late autumn landscape. It's late October, week 13 in Bethel, New York, and the air bites with a crispness that promises winter. The festival grounds are long cleared, but traces of its spirit linger, especially in the attire of those still remaining in the area, a persistent visual echo of a summer dream. This isn't the shocking kaleidoscope of a month ago, but a more muted, integrated aesthetic, a vibrant tapestry that now feels strangely familiar. She observes the patterns with a new appreciation, her gaze no longer simply bewildered, but analytical. Each concentric circle, each unexpected blend of hue, speaks of individuality, of a deliberate break from conformity. Her sound engineer's mind, accustomed to dissecting complex audio signals, now processes this visual information as a kind of silent frequency, the way colors clash and blend, the unexpected harmony in apparent discord, reminds her of layered soundscapes, separate elements creating a cohesive, if sometimes jarring, whole. It's a visual symphony, orchestrated by individual expression, rather than a conductor. She watches a group of young people gathered by a small stream, their bright clothing a stark contrast to the turning leaves. They gesture animatedly, their voices a low murmur, punctuated by bursts of laughter. There's a palpable sense of anticipation among them, a feeling that something is always on the cusp of happening, even in the quiet lull after the summer's grand event. This isn't the frenzied energy of Woodstock, but a softer, more sustained hum of hopeful expectation, a quiet belief in the transformative power of their collective spirit. Her modern assumptions about trends and fast fashion are utterly challenged by the enduring, almost ideological nature of this clothing. It's not just fabric and dye, it's a statement, a philosophy woven into cloth. Her own simple, understated clothing feels less like an anomaly now, and more like a quiet counterpoint. She's learned to adapt her appearance, subtly choosing earth tones, allowing her hair to fall more freely, blending, without adopting the full psychedelic palette. Her adaptation isn't just external, it's internal. She's begun to read the unspoken language of this era, understanding that the visual cues, like the audio ones, carry profound meaning. The way a worn denim jacket is adorned with patches, the careful placement of a peace symbol, all tell a story, a narrative of belief and belonging. As she walks through the small town, past shop windows displaying practical, utilitarian garments, the occasional flash of a tie-dye scarf or a beaded necklace serves as a gentle reminder of the wider cultural shift underway. The initial shock of the flower power attire has faded, replaced by a deep understanding of its significance. It is a visual manifesto, a declaration of identity and aspiration. The anticipation she perceives isn't just for another event, but for a future, for a new world they are actively trying to paint into existence. One vibrant, swirling pattern at a time. This continuous, quiet visual communication of a generation's hopes and dreams resonates deeply within her. A different kind of signal that she has learned to not only perceive, but to respect. The persistent tremor in the floorboards travels up through her feet, vibrating through her entire body like a living, breathing thing. It's early November, week 14 in Bethel, New York, and the chill outside has given way to a palpable warmth inside the community hall. The scent of pine boughs, freshly cut and hung for a gathering, mixes with the earthy aroma of dozens of dancing bodies. A local band is playing, their music a rollicking blend of folk and rock, and the hall pulses with a collective, infectious joy. She stands to the side of the stage, near the makeshift mixing console, feeling the rhythmic stomping and shuffling of feet. Her sound engineer's mind immediately processes this as a powerful low-frequency signal, a deep bass pulse that resonates through the very structure of the building. It's not the distorted, chaotic rumble of Woodstock, but a clear, joyful vibration, a collective expression that she can not only hear, but physically feel. It's a profound, almost primal connection to the moment, a silent, shared energy. She watches the faces of the dancers, their smiles wide, their movements uninhibited. The vibrant, if slightly faded, tie-dye patterns swirl with each turn, a visual echo of the energy radiating from them. Her previous observations of their attire and their dreams now coalesce into this singular, tangible experience of shared delight. Her modern assumptions about individual space and controlled environments are once again challenged. Here, personal boundaries blur into a collective celebration, and the control she once sought in audio is replaced by the surrender to a shared rhythm. Her fingers rest lightly on the smooth, cool surface of the mixing board. She makes a subtle adjustment, coaxing a little more presence from the lead singer's microphone, ensuring that his voice rides just above the joyous din of the crowd. She's not just mixing sound, she's facilitating a feeling, helping to amplify the very heartbeat of the room. Her skills, once focused on technical perfection, have evolved to encompass emotional amplification, understanding that the clearest signal isn't always the cleanest, but the one that most effectively conveys spirit. The air in the hall is warm and humid from the exertion, filled with the collective exhalations of laughter and song. The sounds of individual voices, once a cacophony, now blend into a harmonious swell, a chorus of human connection. The profound physical sensation of the shaking ground, the shared rhythm, creates a deep sense of belonging, an integration into this specific time and place that transcends her origins. She no longer feels like an outsider observing a historical event. She is a participant, a vital part of its ongoing pulse. This is more than just a dance. It's a living, breathing reaffirmation of shared existence. As the music swells and the ground continues to thrum beneath her, she feels a powerful, quiet connection to every soul in the room. The grand, terrifying isolation of being lost in time has been replaced, not by forgetfulness, but by a profound presence, a deep absorption into the present. She realizes that perhaps true adaptation isn't just about survival, but about finding joy, about recognizing and becoming part of the profound, simple rhythms of human connection. No matter the era, this moment, felt through the soles of her feet and deep in her chest, is a truth that time itself cannot diminish. The sharp, clear clap of her hands echoes through the empty community hall, a crisp signal that cuts through the hum of the old amplifier. It's mid-November, week 15 in Bethel, New York, and the raw chill of winter is asserting itself, making the warmth inside the hall feel like a welcome embrace. The air smells of wood smoke, and the faint, metallic scent of the electrical equipment she's now so intimately familiar with. This isn't just a gathering, it's a dedicated sound check, and she is at its helm. She gestures to the young musician on stage, the one with the acoustic guitar, indicating for him to play. Her movements are fluid, confident, a stark contrast to her hesitant gestures weeks ago. Her sound engineer's eyes, scanning the room, detect subtle acoustic anomalies. A slight echo from the back wall, a dead spot near the stage left speaker. Her modern assumptions about sophisticated room analysis software and digital delays are long gone, replaced by an intuitive understanding of this specific space, gleaned from weeks of careful listening and experimentation. She points to a microphone, then mimes adjusting its height, communicating a precise instruction without a single word. The musician nods, adjusting the mic stand with practiced ease. She then turns to Walt, who stands by the mixing board, his gaze fixed on her. She makes a circular motion with her hand, indicating an increase in gain, and Walt responds with a knowing nod, his fingers moving to the appropriate fader. There's a silent, almost telepathic understanding between them, a shared language of technical cues that has developed over time. Her authority, once a silent internal monologue, is now outwardly manifest, communicated through precise gestures and an unwavering focus. She walks around the hall, stopping at various points, listening critically to the balance of the instruments, the clarity of the vocals. Her ears, once assaulted by the crude sound of Woodstock, now seek a different kind of perfection, one tempered by the limitations of the era's technology and the unique acoustics of the space. She hears the nuances of the guitar, the timbre of the singer's voice, and makes mental notes for further adjustments. Her skills are no longer just about fixing problems. They are about sculpting sound, shaping it to best serve the music and the space. As the sound check progresses, the initial discordant jumble of instruments slowly coalesces into a harmonious, balanced sound. The hall, once empty and echoing, now hums with the promise of music. A small, almost imperceptible smile touches her lips. She has found her voice in this new world, not through words, but through her actions, her expertise, her quiet competence. The fear of being unheard, of being irrelevant, has faded, replaced by the deep satisfaction of leading, of guiding, of shaping the sonic experience. It's a profound shift, a realization that her knowledge, even without its modern tools, has a powerful resonance, allowing her to not just survive, but to truly thrive in this unexpected chapter of her life. The quiet hum of functional sound under her direction feels like a symphony of purpose. The sudden, piercing squeal of feedback cuts through the performance, a harsh, unwelcome intrusion that makes the audience wince and the musician on stage visibly recoil. It's late November, week 16 in Bethel, New York, and the chill outside has given way to a dusting of early snow. Inside the community hall, the warmth of the kerosene lamps and the expectant hum of the crowd are momentarily shattered by the recurring sonic assault. The air is thick with the smell of old wood and the metallic tang that often accompanies electrical overloads. She stands by the mixing console, her fingers poised. Her sound engineer's ears instantly identify the offending frequency, a shrill, high-pitched tone that seems to originate from the main vocal microphone. This isn't just random noise. It's a direct result of sound from the speaker re-entering the microphone, creating a destructive, self-perpetuating loop. She's seen it before, countless times, in both primitive and advanced systems. Her modern assumptions about automated feedback suppression and sophisticated equalizers are irrelevant here. This problem requires a more fundamental, almost physical intervention. She watches Walt, who looks at her with a questioning gaze, his hand hovering over a fader, unsure of the best course of action. She shakes her head, then points directly at the microphone on stage, her hand then sweeping in a downward motion, signaling to move it back, away from the main speaker. The musician, having endured this before, quickly repositions the mic, a small but crucial adjustment. The feedback diminishes immediately, replaced by a momentary quiet. Then the tentative return of the music. It's a temporary reprieve, a band-aid solution, but it highlights a persistent issue. Her mind races, sifting through her years of experience. The problem isn't just placement, it's the inherent sensitivity of the microphone, the power of the amplifier, and the reflective surfaces of the hall. She points at the ceiling, then gestures with her hands as if to muffle a sound. Walt, understanding her unspoken suggestion, nods thoughtfully. Later that week, with the help of a few locals, she helps hang thick, heavy blankets from the rafters, strategically placed to absorb some of the reflective sound waves. It's a crude form of acoustic treatment, but one she knows will dampen the offending frequencies. A practical application of a modern solution to a vintage sound system problem. As the next performance begins, the music fills the hall with a clearer, more controlled presence. The sound is fuller, warmer, and crucially, free from the jarring squeal. She monitors the levels intently, her hand ready, but the feedback, for now, is gone. A quiet sense of triumph washes over her, a deep satisfaction in applying her theoretical knowledge to the physical constraints of this era. It's a confirmation that her modern understanding of acoustics and signal flow can transcend technological limitations, offering tangible improvements even with the simplest of means. The absence of the irritating feedback is not just a relief to her ears, but a powerful affirmation of her continued purpose in this unexpected life. The functional silence, where feedback once reigned, speaks volumes. The persistent, almost subliminal hum of the old refrigeration unit in the back of the community hall provides a low-frequency drone, a constant undercurrent to her thoughts. It's early December, week 17 in Bethel, New York, and the windows are now frosted with intricate patterns. The air inside dry and warm from a wood-burning stove. The smell of burning wood and stale coffee hangs heavy, a familiar scent of winter routine. She sits at the mixing board, her fingers tracing the faded labels of the analog controls, her mind racing with a gnawing dilemma. She has achieved a remarkable level of clarity from the vintage sound system, using her modern knowledge to optimize microphone placement, cable management, and even rudimentary acoustic treatment. The local musicians and community members now look to her with an unspoken trust, an admiration for her ability to make their voices and instruments sound better than ever before. This perception of her as a kind of sonic wizard has grown, and with it, a profound internal conflict. Her modern assumptions about technological advancements scream at her, presenting an almost endless array of solutions that are, in this era, utterly unheard of. Her gaze drifts to the simple, dynamic microphones on stage. She imagines a condenser mic with its superior clarity and frequency response, effortlessly capturing every nuance. She pictures a simple equalizer, allowing for precise frequency shaping, or a compressor evening out the dynamics of a spirited singer. These aren't complex digital systems. These are technologies that, by 1969 standards, would be revolutionary. Yet, they are still years away from common use or even widespread invention in their current form. She could, theoretically, describe their principles, perhaps even sketch rudimentary schematics. The potential for enhancing the local sound, for truly revolutionizing live sound amid chaos and idealism, as her original directive suggested, feels immense. But then another thought creeps in, cold and sharp as the winter air. The butterfly effect. Her modern understanding of history, of the slow, organic progression of technology, wars with her immediate desire to improve. If she introduces a concept too early, a design too advanced, what unseen ripple will it create? Will a perfectly clear microphone now mean something vital is lost later? Her professional drive to always achieve the best possible sound clashes with a deep ethical responsibility, a primal fear of irrevocably altering the past. She now inhabits. She picks up a discarded piece of wire, bending it idly between her fingers. Her skills allow her to work within the confines of the existing technology, to coax out its best possible performance without introducing completely alien concepts. She's already improved things significantly, using what is available, applying principles rather than specific, advanced inventions. The temptation to push further, to create something truly groundbreaking, is immense. But so is the fear of the unknown consequences. The question hangs heavy in the air, a silent, unresolvable frequency. Is it better to enhance what exists, or to introduce the unheard? The burden of her future knowledge, once a powerful tool, now feels like a profound ethical weight. The quiet hum of the hall seems to hold its breath, waiting for her decision. The metallic coolness of the faders beneath her fingertips grounds her in the present, even as her mind races through possibilities. It's mid-December, week 18 in Bethel, New York, and the familiar smell of dust and old electronics fills the quiet community hall. She's fine-tuning the sound for a small holiday performance, pushing the vintage mixer to its absolute limits, meticulously extracting every possible ounce of clarity from the battered microphones and speakers. Her sound engineer's heart yearns for the pristine, digital precision of her own era, for the effortless control over every frequency, every dynamic, a constant, nagging whisper in her ear. She adjusts the EQ for a particularly booming bass drum, gently nudging a knob, knowing that in her time, a multi-band parametric equalizer would offer infinitely more surgical control. Her modern assumptions about sonic excellence are a persistent challenge. She knows she could, design a simple, active crossover network right now, improving speaker efficiency and clarity exponentially. The principles are clear in her mind, diagrams forming behind her eyes. It would be a revelation, a profound leap for this small community's sound experience, a tangible way to truly elevate their music. She pauses, her hand hovering over a gain knob, her gaze fixed on the empty stage. The image of Walt, beaming after a clear performance, flashes in her mind. He and the others trust her, respect her expertise. They have welcomed her, made her feel less alone in this bewildering past. The desire to give them the perfect mix, to share the sonic brilliance she knows is possible, is almost overwhelming. This isn't about profit or fame for her. It's about sharing a better way, enabling a clearer voice, making their vibrant music resonate with even more impact. But then, the quiet dread creeps in. The historical, established order isn't just technical, it's cultural, social, a delicate tapestry she has only just begun to understand. What if a slightly better sound system here means a different band rises to prominence, or a different message is amplified more effectively, creating an unforeseen ripple? What if a simple invention, introduced prematurely, alters the course of local industry, or, more terrifyingly, global events she remembers from her own timeline, her memory of history, of the slow, careful unfolding of events, serves as a powerful deterrent. She clutches her hands, feeling the phantom weight of responsibility. Her modern self, the one who always optimized, always innovated, is in fierce conflict with the displaced self, the silent guardian of time. The hall remains quiet, awaiting its transformation for the holiday. She knows she could achieve a perfect mix, or at least a vastly improved one, by introducing just a few simple, unheard concepts. But the cost, the unknown, unquantifiable cost, looms large. She recognizes that this isn't just about sound anymore. It's about life, about consequence, about the profound ethical considerations of her very presence. The heavy weight of this dilemma settles upon her, making the silence of the empty hall feel less like opportunity and more like an abyss of potential, irreversible change. The ideal mix, she realizes, is not just an auditory goal, but a delicate balance with the flow of time itself, a truth that now hums louder than any amplifier. The scent of beeswax candles and damp evergreen fills the community hall, a comforting aroma that still holds a hint of the season's crispness. It's late December, week 19 in Bethel, New York, and the hall is bustling with activity. Preparations underway for a New Year's Eve celebration. She stands by the sound equipment, her hands resting on the cool metal, a subtle tension thrumming beneath her skin. The internal debate of weeks past has quietly, almost imperceptibly, resolved itself. She has made a decision. Her gaze sweeps across the stage at the familiar, if limited, setup. The microphones are vintage. The amplifier is a tube-driven beast. The speakers are oversized wooden boxes. But she sees opportunity in their limitations. Her sound engineer's mind, always seeking improvement, has found a way to subtly introduce a clearer, more powerful sound without overtly inventing new technology. Her modern assumptions about transparent audio are now being cautiously applied within the constraints of 1969. She has spent the week in the small, cluttered storage room behind the stage, seemingly organizing cables and spare parts. In reality, she has been carefully rewiring, optimizing the internal connections of one of the main speakers, bypassing some of the inefficient passive components. She's applied principles of basic phase alignment and impedance matching, concepts that already exist in rudimentary forms, but are rarely applied with such meticulous precision in this context. She hasn't built a new device. She has simply made existing ones work better, more efficiently, closer to their theoretical potential. It's a quiet revolution, enacted with repurposed wires and a borrowed soldering iron. She watches as Walt walks by, his eyes acknowledging her focused work with a respectful nod. There's no suspicion, only trust. The risk of exposure, the fear of being seen as an anomaly, is ever present, a low-frequency hum in her peripheral awareness, but the desire to offer this community a richer, more impactful sound experience has outweighed her caution. It's a calculated risk, a subtle nudge to the established order rather than a disruptive jolt. She believes the enhancement will be perceived as a natural improvement, a culmination of her weeks of meticulous adjustments, rather than an anachronistic invention. As the first musicians begin to set up their instruments, plugging into the now subtly enhanced system, she feels a surge of anticipation. The air crackles with unspoken possibility. Her fingers move to the mixer, her ears already anticipating the change. The potential for a wider frequency response, a cleaner signal, a more robust low end is within reach. It won't be a future sound, but it will be the best possible sound this 1969 equipment could ever hope to achieve. A whisper of the future without shouting its presence. The first strum of a guitar, amplified through the subtly re-engineered system, fills the hall with a surprising clarity, a depth that was not there before. A subtle, almost imperceptible shift in the audience's collective energy is felt. A slight stirring, a greater focus. She sees a musician's eyes widen for a split second, a flicker of surprise and delight. A quiet satisfaction settles deep within her. The gnawing dilemma has been resolved, not through passive preservation, but through a thoughtful, subtle intervention. She has found a way to contribute, to enhance, to bring a clearer resonance to this past, while still respecting its delicate balance. The power of sound, she realizes, is not just in its volume, but in its ability to quietly, profoundly shift perceptions. The first note of the guitar rings out, not a fuzzy, distorted approximation, but a clear, bright chord that shimmers with an unexpected fidelity, filling the community hall with an almost tangible presence. It's early January, week 20 in Bethel, New York, and a fresh blanket of snow outside casts a hushed quiet over the landscape. Inside, the air hums with anticipation, and the comforting scent of wood smoke, now perfectly balanced with the amplified, nuanced sounds. She stands at the mixing board, her fingers hovering over the faders, a faint smile touching her lips. The guitarist on stage, the earnest young Thomas, strums another chord, his eyes wide with a subtle disbelief. Then a grin spreads across his face. He glances at her, a silent nod of profound appreciation. This is the result of her careful, discreet rewiring, her subtle application of modern acoustical principles to vintage hardware. Her sound engineer's ears, now fully recalibrated to the limitations and potentials of this era, revel in the unexpected clarity, the distinct pluck of each string, the warmth of the tone. It's not just loud, it's present. The effect ripples through the small audience gathered for the New Year's celebration. Heads turn, conversations quiet. People lean forward, their expressions shifting from polite attention to genuine engagement. This isn't just music being played, it's music being heard, truly heard, in a way that is quietly revolutionary for this time and place. Her modern assumptions about sound quality, once a source of internal conflict, are now manifesting as a tangible improvement, a subtle but undeniable gift to the community. This isn't a disruptive, alien technology, but simply better sound, coaxed from the familiar. She makes a small adjustment to the vocal mic, ensuring Thomas's voice will blend seamlessly with his now crystal clear guitar. The risk of exposure, the ethical dilemma that had plagued her, has been navigated through careful, almost invisible enhancement. She hasn't invented new devices. She has merely optimized the existing ones, showing them what their own tools are truly capable of. It's a quiet testament to the enduring principles of sound, a demonstration that deep understanding can transcend technological eras. As Thomas begins to sing, his voice carrying with an unprecedented clarity, the sound flows out into the hall, touching every corner, every person. There's a collective sigh of contentment, a palpable warmth that spreads through the room. The rhythmic tapping of feet, once a simple background noise, now contributes to the fuller, richer tapestry of sound. She feels a deep, almost spiritual connection to the moment, not just as an engineer, but as a facilitator of shared beauty. The isolated, intellectual pursuit of perfect sound in her own time feels distant, replaced by the immediate, communal joy of this shared experience. A quiet revolution, indeed. It's not a shout heard across a sprawling field like Woodstock, but a resonant chord, a clear voice, echoing in a small community hall, creating a ripple of connection that is profound in its subtlety. She realizes that her impact here isn't about changing the course of history with grand inventions, but about enriching the present, about making the voices and music of this past resonate with a newfound truth. The fear of disrupting time is replaced by the satisfaction of subtly enhancing it. A quiet understanding that her presence, carefully wielded, can bring unexpected beauty. The soft rustle of coats, the occasional cough, the low murmur of conversation. These familiar ambient sounds of a gathered crowd now hold a new quality, a subtle attentiveness. It's mid-January, week 21, in Bethel, New York, and the severe winter chill outside means the community hall is packed to capacity for an evening of local music and storytelling. The air inside is warm, thick with the scent of coffee, wood smoke, and the close proximity of many bodies. She stands at the mixing console, her senses hyper-attuned to every frequency in the room. She watches the crowd, her sound engineer's perception keenly observing the subtle shift in their energy. Before, even with the music playing, there was always a low hum of chatter, a slight restlessness. Now, as the clear, rich tones of a guitar and a singer's voice fill the hall, the background noise noticeably diminishes. Heads are cocked, eyes are fixed on the stage, and a collective stillness descends. It's not just a polite quiet, it's an active engagement, a deeper immersion, a direct response to the improved sound clarity she has quietly engineered. Her modern assumptions about passive audiences, about people needing to be actively entertained to maintain attention, are being beautifully disproven. Here, the clarity of sound itself is enough to captivate, to draw listeners in with an almost magnetic force. The nuanced articulation of the singer's words, the distinct resonance of each instrument, allows the audience to connect more profoundly with the performance. She sees smiles, nods of understanding, a shared emotional journey unfolding in real time. Her hands, resting lightly on the mixer, feel a deep satisfaction in facilitating this connection. She makes a minor adjustment to the bass guitar, giving it a little more low-end presence, and watches as a couple in the front row unconsciously sway to the rhythm, their eyes closed in enjoyment. Her interventions are no longer about fixing glaring problems, but about fine-tuning an already good experience, ensuring the emotional impact of the music is fully delivered. She understands that the revolution she was tasked with isn't necessarily about inventing the future, but about bringing the best possible present, using the wisdom of the future to uplift the current moment. As the performance builds to a crescendo, the energy in the room swells, not with chaotic noise, but with a unified, joyful hum. The applause that follows is more robust, more enthusiastic, a clear indicator of the audience's deeper appreciation. She feels the vibration of the applause through the floorboards, a powerful, positive feedback loop that transcends mere sound. It's a profound understanding of her impact. Her skills, once isolated and technical, are now deeply integrated into the communal experience, enhancing not just the sound, but the very fabric of shared moments. Standing there, absorbing the collective energy of the appreciative crowd, she realizes that this subtle shift, this deeper engagement, is her true contribution. The fear of altering history with grand gestures has given way to the quiet power of enhancing it through careful, thoughtful presence. She finds a profound truth in the simple act of making a voice heard, a melody clearer. Her own adaptation in this time has deepened, moving beyond survival to a quiet, impactful role, making the present moment resonate with a clarity that will undoubtedly linger in the memories of those who experienced it. The sharp thwack of a dropped bundle of cables echoes from behind her, a sound with an underlying tension that is less accidental and more pointed. It's late January, week 22 in Bethel, New York, and the severe winter weather has everyone confined indoors, making the community hall a hub of activity. The air, thick with the scent of pine and stale coffee, also carries a new, subtle, but distinctly unpleasant undertone, the sting of unforeseen friction. She turns, her sound engineer's eyes immediately drawn to a man named Frank, the local stage manager. He stands with his arms crossed, his gaze fixed on her, a tight, unsmiling expression on his face. This isn't the open admiration she has grown accustomed to. It's something colder, tinged with resentment. His jaw is clenched, and he deliberately avoids her gaze when she meets his. His posture, stiff and defensive, speaks volumes. She processes this visual cue as she would a faulty signal, an unwelcome interruption, a source of potential static in the carefully cultivated harmony of her new life. Frank had been the one primarily responsible for the sound equipment before her arrival, managing its setup and basic operation with a steady, if uninspired, hand. Her quiet improvements, her subtle enhancements to the sound clarity, have inadvertently diminished his traditional role, making his own efforts seem less effective in comparison. Her modern assumptions about meritocracy, about the universal appreciation for improvement, are being challenged by the complex, deeply human realities of pride and territoriality. Her quiet revolution, meant to benefit everyone, has unintended consequences. She notes how he now often positions himself physically between her and anyone seeking her advice. A silent assertion of his authority. He might offer a gruff, dismissive comment if someone praises the sound, or pointedly ignore her suggestions during setup. His actions create an almost palpable tension in the hall, a low-frequency hum of discord that she can feel in the air, a different kind of feedback loop than she's used to. It's not a technical problem she can solve with a soldering iron. It's a human one, rooted in emotion. Her hands, usually so confident on the mixing board, feel a flicker of unease, the satisfaction of a well-balanced mix, the joy of a clear vocal, is now tinged with the awareness of this growing resentment. She understands that her modern approach, her focus on efficiency and optimal performance, has inadvertently ruffled feathers, disrupting a local hierarchy that had been in place long before her arrival. The power she now wields, the respect she has earned, comes with an unexpected cost. The unintended envy of a man whose own competence is being quietly, perhaps unfairly, overshadowed. The sharp thwack of the cables still echoes in her mind, a physical manifestation of this new, unwelcome friction. It's a reminder that adaptation in this past isn't just about mastering the technical or surviving the physical, but about navigating the delicate, unpredictable currents of human emotion and social dynamics. The sting of this unforeseen friction is a cold, sharp truth, a new kind of challenge that she must now learn to mix into the complex, vibrant, and sometimes discordant soundscape of her unexpected life. It's a sobering realization. Even the quietest revolution can create powerful, personal ripples. The sharp click of a screwdriver against metal, far too close for comfort, pulls her attention from the mixing board. It's early February, week 23 in Bethel, New York, and the chill of winter still permeates the community hall. Despite the warmth of the wood stove, the air, usually filled with the comforting scent of wood smoke and beeswax, now carries a faint, alarming aroma of hot solder and ozone, an indication that someone is delving into the sound equipment. She turns, her sound engineer's eyes immediately narrowing on Thomas, the young musician whose guitar now sounds so remarkably clear. He's kneeling beside one of the main speakers, its back panel unscrewed, a small, worn screwdriver in his hand. His brow is furrowed in concentration, and his fingers carefully prod at the rewired components she had subtly optimized weeks ago. His curiosity, once a source of quiet admiration, now feels like a direct threat, a spotlight on her hidden alterations. He glances up at her, a look of genuine bewilderment mixed with awe on his face. He points with the screwdriver at a section of her rewiring, then shrugs, his gesture conveying a silent question. How did you do this? His fascination is clear. He recognizes the improvement, but the underlying mechanism is a mystery to him, a kind of magic upgrade. Her modern assumptions about open source knowledge and readily available schematics are instantly shattered. In this era, innovation often means guarded secrets, and her quiet work now feels exposed. Her heart gives a slight, nervous lurch. This is the moment, the unforeseen friction point she had feared. Her mind races, searching for an explanation that is both truthful enough to satisfy his curiosity and vague enough to avoid revealing the true anachronism of her knowledge. She points to the quality of the wire, then gestures to the overall integrity of the connection, subtly emphasizing concepts that are already understood, but applied with a precision that is not. She mimes signal flow, then resonance, using broad, simple gestures, trying to convey complex principles without specific technical jargon. Thomas leans closer, his eyes following her hands, absorbing her unspoken explanation. He nods slowly, a dawning comprehension in his gaze, accepting her gestures as a form of instruction, a higher level of understanding he is eager to grasp. His genuine desire to learn, to improve, is palpable. Her modern understanding of communication, of the need for precise language and detailed diagrams, is being replaced by a reliance on visual cues, on intuition, on the universal language of shared technical endeavor. The faint, alarming aroma of hot solder still hangs in the air, a testament to his bold exploration. She feels a profound unease, a cold knot in her stomach, even as she recognizes the genuine curiosity in his eyes. Her subtle intervention has clearly made an impact, but it has also drawn unwanted attention, shifting her role from a quiet facilitator to a more exposed educator. The sting of unforeseen friction from Frank now has a counterpoint in this unexpected, yet equally challenging, encounter with genuine, probing curiosity. This is the delicate dance of adaptation, she realizes, where every improvement, no matter how small, has consequences, and every magic trick demands an uneasy explanation. The quiet hum of the community hall now holds a new, anxious frequency, the sharp, distinct pluck of a banjo string, amplified with surprising clarity, now resonates beyond the walls of the community hall, carrying faintly on the crisp February air. It's week 24 in Bethel, New York, and the severe cold has begun to yield, hinting at the slow approach of spring. The air smells of thawing earth, damp wood, and the lingering aroma of the wood stove. She stands outside the hall, feeling the subtle vibrations of the music through the frozen ground, a testament to the enhanced acoustics she has quietly put into place. She scans the small, snow-dusted town, observing the subtle ripple effect of her work. More people are drawn to the hall now, their footsteps crunching on the snow, their heads cocked to catch the improved sound. Word has spread, a quiet buzz through the community about the newfound clarity of the performances. Her modern assumptions about marketing and advertising are replaced by the simple, organic power of word of mouth. Good sound, it turns out, is its own best advertisement, even in 1969. But with this positive ripple comes another, less comfortable one. She sees Frank, the stage manager, observing the growing crowds, his expression a mixture of pride in the community's success and thinly veiled resentment at her unacknowledged contribution. His gestures are sharper, his posture more rigid whenever she approaches. His silent accusations of her magic are a persistent, low-frequency hum in her awareness. And now, she also notices Thomas, the curious musician, occasionally watching her with an intense, analytical gaze, as if trying to reverse engineer her subtle improvements. Her success has brought not just appreciation, but also scrutiny and envy, the inevitable friction of disrupting an established, if informal, order. She feels the subtle vibrations of the music through the soles of her feet, a powerful reminder of her impact. The music is clearer, more impactful, undoubtedly inspiring more engagement, and perhaps even a higher level of performance from the local artists. This small ripple, she understands, can lead to larger ones, new songs composed, new collaborations formed, a stronger sense of local artistic identity. Her quiet revolution in acoustics, initially driven by a professional urge, has transformed into a profound cultural contribution. The winter sun begins to dip, painting the snow with hues of orange and purple. The sound from the hall, vibrant and clear, fills the gathering dusk. She accepts the good with the bad, the appreciation with the envy, the clarity with the scrutiny. This is the complex reality of her presence, the inevitable ripple effect of her skills, whether applied subtly or overtly. Her modern understanding of cause and effect, of controlled variables, has been replaced by an acceptance of organic, unpredictable consequences. She realizes that her role here is not to control the flow, but to ride its currents, to guide them as best she can without overturning the boat. The enhanced acoustics, a testament to her quiet work, are now an undeniable part of this town's soundscape, a living, breathing testament to her unique, anachronistic presence. The reverberations of her impact, both harmonious and discordant, are now part of this past's ongoing story. The faint, persistent warmth of the old amplifier's casing against her hand is a familiar comfort, a low-frequency hum of consistent operation she has come to trust. It's early March, week 25 in Bethel, New York, and the chill of winter still lingers. a brittle edge to the air, but the longer days hint at spring's slow approach. The community hall is quiet, save for the rhythmic creak of the aging building settling and the distant caw of a crow. She's alone, meticulously cleaning dust from the mixing board, her thoughts a tangled web of professional satisfaction and a heavy, pervasive secret. Her sound engineer's eyes trace the pathways of the circuits, the carefully resoldered connections, the subtle modifications she made weeks ago. The improvements are undeniable. The music now resonates with a clarity and depth that astonishes the local musicians and captivates the audiences. She has given them a glimpse of better sound, a subtle revolution, using only their existing tools and her future knowledge. This quiet triumph, however, comes with a profound, almost suffocating weight. The secret of how she knows what she knows, and the constant, gnawing fear of altering the delicate tapestry of history. She polishes a tarnished knob, her movements deliberate. Her modern assumptions about innovation, about the relentless pursuit of progress, are constantly at war with the ethical imperative to preserve the timeline she remembers. Every successful adjustment, every clearer note, every appreciative glance from Walt or Thomas reinforces both her pride and her anxiety. Thomas, the curious musician, still occasionally probes, his eyes lingering on her work with an almost scientific intensity. Frank, the stage manager, continues to observe her with a grudging, resentful respect, a volatile mix that could easily turn suspicious if she pushes too far. The pressure of these gazes, of these unspoken questions, forms a constant, almost physical presence. Her mind races through the possibilities she could introduce. A rudimentary equalizer built from readily available components, a more advanced microphone design, principles of studio recording that would blow their minds. The theoretical applications of her future knowledge are boundless, but the practical, ethical constraints are equally immense. She replays the historical events she remembers from her own time, the significant technological advancements, the slow, organic unfolding of scientific discovery, a misplaced invention, a premature leap in sound technology, could send unforeseen ripples through industries, art forms, or even critical historical events she cannot predict. The weight of this potential butterfly effect presses down on her, a low, ominous frequency in her internal soundscape. As the sun begins to set, casting long, purple shadows across the hall, she steps back, surveying the clean, functional sound system. It is good, perhaps even great for its time, but it is not future great. And that, she knows, is the most profound challenge she faces. Her ability to innovate is a powerful tool, but her responsibility to history demands restraint, a silent act of self-censorship. She feels a deep, almost existential fatigue, not just from the day's labor, but from the constant mental balancing act between what she could do and what she must not. The secret, she realizes, is not just hers to carry. It is a shared burden with an unknown future. A quiet hum beneath the surface of every seemingly ordinary day. The soft, almost ethereal strum of a 12-string guitar, perfectly balanced through the hall's sound system, washes over her, a warm, resonant wave. It's mid-March, week 26 in Bethel, New York, and the first hints of spring are in the air. A gentle breeze carrying the scent of damp earth and budding growth. Inside the community hall, the familiar smell of old wood and beeswax is now overlaid with the crisp, clean sound of live music. She stands at the mixing console, her fingers poised, her gaze fixed on the stage. Thomas, the young musician, is performing. His fingers move with a newfound confidence across the fretboard, his voice clear and expressive. As he finishes a particularly intricate passage, his eyes lift from his instrument, meeting hers across the dim hall. There's a flicker of understanding between them, a shared moment of profound resonance that transcends words. It's an unspoken language of appreciation, of shared artistic endeavor, a deep connection formed not through dialogue, but through the medium of sound itself. Her sound engineers perception, always finely tuned to the subtleties of audio. Now registers this powerful, silent communication. Her modern assumptions about professional boundaries, about the detached nature of a technician's role, have softened dramatically. Here, in this close-knit community, the lines between artist and engineer blur. She is not just a facilitator of sound. She is an integral part of the creative process, an unseen collaborator in the delivery of emotion. Her careful enhancements to the sound system, her quiet revolution in clarity, have allowed Thomas to express himself more fully, to reach his audience with greater impact. This shared glance is a direct acknowledgement of that. She watches his fingers, noting the precision of his movements, the subtle shifts in his body language as he immerses himself in the music. The energy he radiates, amplified by the clearer sound, fills the hall, drawing in every listener. Even Frank, the stage manager, she notices, stands a little straighter. A faint, almost imperceptible nod of approval on his face, though he still avoids her direct gaze. The friction between them persists, but it is now a low hum, overshadowed by the undeniable success of the performances. As Thomas transitions into another song, a new melody, she feels the distinct vibrations of the music through the mixing board, a physical manifestation of the deep connection she shares with the artist. The weight of her secret, the fear of altering history, is still present. But in these moments of shared artistic triumph, it recedes, replaced by a profound sense of purpose. Her modern self, so focused on individual achievement, finds itself deeply satisfied by this communal success, this collaborative creation of beauty. The unspoken language of shared glances, of mutual understanding forged through sound, becomes a powerful thread weaving her deeper into the fabric of this past. She realizes that her impact here isn't just about the technical clarity she brings, but about the emotional resonance she helps to unlock, allowing artists like Thomas to truly shine. This deeper connection, this shared space of creative understanding, is a silent symphony that resonates profoundly within her. A beautiful, unexpected discovery in her unexpected journey. The music she understands is not just what she amplifies, it's what amplifies her own sense of belonging. The rich, vibrant chords of a jazz quartet fill the community hall, each note distinct and alive, resonating with a clarity she had only dreamed of achieving with this vintage equipment. It's late March, week 27 in Bethel, New York, and outside, the world is slowly waking to spring. The air crisp with the scent of damp earth and new growth. Inside, the hall is alive with music and the joyful murmur of an appreciative crowd. Their collective energy, a warm, palpable presence. The comforting aroma of brewing coffee mingles with the faint, sweet scent of beeswax from the hall's polished wood. She stands at the mixing console, her hands moving with confident precision, adjusting the levels, balancing the intricate harmonies. Her sound engineers' ears, once so overwhelmed by the cacophony of Woodstock, now revel in this sophisticated, nuanced performance. The bass line thrums beneath her feet. The saxophone wails with a soulful clarity. The drums punctuate with crisp precision. This is the culmination of her subtle efforts, her quiet revolution in acoustics, now manifest in a truly magnificent sound. For a fleeting moment, a ghost of a sound from her past life surfaces, the sterile, almost artificial perfection of digitally produced music, the isolated hum of her modern studio equipment. It's an echo, faint and distant, almost foreign. Her modern assumptions about sound production, about the absolute need for digital tools, now feel less like an imperative and more like a choice, a path not taken. The vibrant, organic harmony of the present moment, the raw, living sound she helps create here, effectively drowns out that conflicted echo, replacing it with a richer, more meaningful presence. She sees Thomas, the musician, sitting in the audience, tapping his foot, a look of pure joy on his face as he listens to the quartet. Even Frank, the stage manager, stands near the back, his posture relaxed, his expression softened by the music. The subtle friction with him has not vanished entirely, but it has attenuated, lessened by the undeniable success of her efforts. The community, through its engagement with this enhanced sound, has unconsciously accepted her presence, her magic, into their collective experience. As the jazz piece reaches its crescendo, filling the hall with a glorious, complex tapestry of sound, she feels a profound connection to the moment. The energy in the room is electric, a unified pulse of appreciation and shared emotion. Her previous fears of altering history, of creating unforeseen ripples, recede into the background, quieted by the immediate, tangible beauty she is helping to facilitate. Her role is not to disrupt, but to enhance, to amplify the inherent good in this time. The final, lingering note of the saxophone hangs in the air, then fades, replaced by a wave of enthusiastic applause. A deep sense of peace settles over her, a quiet understanding that her past life, with its precise demands and digital comforts, now feels almost like a dream. The present, with its rich, vibrant harmony, its human connections, and its analog soul, has become her undeniable reality. The conflicting echoes of a distant past are now fully drowned out, replaced by the resonant, living symphony of her unexpected, utterly fulfilling journey. The rhythmic thud-thud-thud of a hammer against wood, accompanied by the scent of freshly sawn lumber and sawdust, fills the air around her. It's early April, week 28 in Bethel, New York, and spring is truly asserting itself. The sounds of melting snow and chirping birds replacing winter's hush. She's not at the mixing console today. She's outside, directing a small crew of local volunteers, including Walt and Thomas, in the construction of a makeshift sound booth at the back of the community hall. This isn't just a temporary fix. It's a tangible future, slowly taking shape with her guidance. Her sound engineer's eye, always attuned to acoustics, assesses the evolving structure. It's a simple, four-walled enclosure designed to isolate the mixing console from the main hall's sound, providing a more controlled environment for her work. Her modern assumptions about purpose-built studios and acoustically treated rooms are being adapted to the realities of rough lumber and repurposed insulation. She gestures to Walt, indicating where a new section of thick plywood should be secured, ensuring a tight seal for sound isolation. He nods, his movements practiced, his previous resentment now replaced by a collaborative focus. She points to Thomas, asking him to test the fit of a window frame they salvaged, ensuring it provides adequate visibility of the stage without compromising the acoustic barrier. His eager movements, his genuine interest in the project, confirm a growing trust. Her modern knowledge of sound engineering principles, once a closely guarded secret, is now being openly applied, explained through gestures and simple analogies that the crew can understand and implement. This isn't about building advanced technology. It's about applying universal principles of isolation and control with the materials available in 1969. The process is slow, labor-intensive, punctuated by the grunts of effort, the scrape of tools, and the shared, satisfied sighs as each piece fits into place. The air is thick with the aroma of wood and determination. This shared physical labor, this collective effort towards a common, audibly better goal, deepens her connection to the community. It's a different kind of mixing, she realizes, blending human effort with her future, understanding to construct something entirely new for this time. Her hands, calloused and smudged with sawdust, feel a profound satisfaction that is both professional and deeply personal. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the partially built booth, she steps back, surveying their work. It's far from a modern control room, but it is a significant improvement, a leap forward for local live sound. The fear of altering history, while still present, is now tempered by the tangible good she is creating, the visible progress her knowledge is enabling. Her modern self, once isolated by her unique temporal displacement, is now deeply embedded in the physical creation of this new reality. The makeshift sound booth, standing solid and square, represents more than just enhanced acoustics. It's a symbol of collaboration, of shared vision, of a future subtly influenced by her presence. She feels a deep, quiet pride, a profound satisfaction in building something real, something useful, something that will amplify the voices and music of this community for years to come. This tangible future, built with her hands and her knowledge, now resonates with a steady, hopeful hum, a testament to her ongoing adaptation and her evolving purpose in this unexpected life. The rich, earthy scent of damp spring soil, mingled with the sweet aroma of budding trees, and the distant, rhythmic hum of a tractor working a field, now feels like the very breath of life itself. It's late April, week 29 in Bethel, New York, and the world outside is bursting with green, a vibrant contrast to the stark browns and grays of winter. She sits on a makeshift bench just outside the newly completed sound booth, sipping a steaming mug of strong, dark coffee, her gaze sweeping across the bustling activity of the community hall. The sounds of hammering, laughter, and the tentative tuning of instruments from inside create a lively, organic soundscape. Her sound engineers ears, once so calibrated to the sterile precision of digital audio, now perceive an entirely different kind of richness in the world around her, the unfiltered symphony of nature, the genuine, unamplified voices of people, the subtle creaks and groans of an old building. These sounds resonate with a profound authenticity, the very imperfections, the occasional distorted note, the subtle static, no longer grate on her senses, but contribute to a vivid, living tapestry of sound. Her modern assumptions about control, about shaping every frequency to perfection, have been softened, replaced by an appreciation for the raw, unpolished beauty of the present. She watches as Walt and Thomas carry a freshly painted sign to hang above the booth, their movements easy and familiar. She recognizes the subtle shifts in their body language, the unspoken communication that has developed between them. She is no longer an outsider, a silent observer of a historical drama. She is an active participant, her hands calloused from carpentry, her mind sharp from problem solving within severe limitations, her heart warmed by genuine connection, the daily rituals, the challenges of making do, the shared meals, the collective efforts. All these have woven themselves into the fabric of her being, creating a sense of belonging deeper than anything she experienced in her own time. A particularly bright burst of birdsong cuts through the air, drawing her attention to a robin perched on a nearby branch. She closes her eyes, breathing in the cold, clean air, and in that moment, a profound realization washes over her, startling in its clarity. This chaotic, soulful existence, with its tangible challenges and its deep human connections, feels undeniably more real than the antiseptic, digitally mediated future she left behind. The memories of her past life, the glowing screens, the instant communication, the endless choices, now seem distant, almost dreamlike, lacking the visceral texture and emotional depth of this present. The fear of being lost, once a cold, constant companion, has transformed. Now, the quiet dread is almost the opposite. The fear of leaving, of somehow being pulled back to a future that feels increasingly hollow and insubstantial. Her own adaptation has gone beyond survival. It has become an embrace, a quiet surrender to the unexpected richness of this accidental life. She opens her eyes, the bright spring sunlight illuminating the bustling scene, the sound of the world around her, in all its imperfect, glorious authenticity, has become her true north, her anchor in time. She realizes that perhaps she wasn't just transported to the past, she was transported into a truer version of herself. The distant, rhythmic ding-dong of the church bell, clear and resonant across the budding fields, marks the passing of another hour. It's early May, week 30 in Bethel, New York, and the air is thick with the sweet perfume of apple blossoms and freshly turned earth, a vibrant symphony of spring. She sits on the porch of a small, borrowed cabin on the edge of town. The rough-hewn wood warm beneath her fingertips, watching the sun paint the sky in hues of orange and soft purple, the sounds of the day, a patchwork of children's laughter, barking dogs, and the murmur of distant conversations, weave together into a familiar, comforting soundscape that now defines her existence. Her sound engineers ears, once trained to dissect and perfect every frequency, now simply listen, absorbing the rich, unfiltered complexity of this bygone era, the analog nature of life here, the physical presence of every sound, the creak of a wagon wheel, the distant buzz of a chainsaw, the clatter of dishes from a nearby farmhouse has become her truest music. There are no digital compressions, no auto-tunes, no layers of artificial effects. This is raw, unadulterated reality, a constant, immersive symphony that speaks directly to her soul. Her modern assumptions about technological superiority have not just faded, they have inverted. The future, with its pristine, often artificial soundscapes, now feels muted, almost muted by comparison. A sterile whisper against the vibrant roar of the present. She closes her eyes, letting the sounds wash over her. She remembers the initial shock of Woodstock, the chaotic roar, the bewildering static. She remembers the dread of being lost, the fear of never returning. But those memories, once sharp and agonizing, now carry a different tone, a quiet acceptance. She has found purpose here, not in revolutionary invention, but in subtle enhancement, in helping the voices and music of this community resonate with a clarity that was previously just out of reach. She has built connections, found friendship with Walt, and shared a profound understanding with Thomas. Her hands, calloused and strong, reflect the physical labor and dedication that have rooted her deeply in this soil. A gentle breeze rustles through the new leaves on the trees, a soft, whispering sound that signals change, growth, continuity. She opens her eyes, her gaze clear and resolute. The internal debate, the gnawing question of whether to stay or somehow find a way back, has finally, definitively resolved itself. She makes a conscious choice, a silent, profound surrender. This is her life now, this imperfect, chaotic, deeply soulful existence in 1970, in Bethel, New York, has become her home. The yearning for the future she knew has diminished, replaced by a fierce, protective embrace of this present. As the last sliver of sun dips below the horizon, painting the clouds in fiery streaks, she feels a deep sense of peace settle over her. A quiet, resonant hum within her chest. The fear of altering history has transformed into a commitment to nurture its present, to become an integral, if silent, part of its unfolding story. Her journey from a frantic, displaced outsider to a quietly impactful member of this community is complete. She has not just adapted to this era, she has chosen it. And in that choice, she has found a freedom, a belonging, and a profound sense of realness that transcends the boundaries of time. She is no longer just a sound engineer from the future. She is a part of this immersive symphony. Every note, every chord, every silence, now undeniably her own. The sudden, violent drumming of rain against the thin tin roof of the community hall jolts her. A percussive assault that drowns out the gentle strumming of a pre-show sound check. It's mid-May, week 31 in Bethel, New York, and the sweet scent of spring blossoms is abruptly replaced by the sharp, metallic tang of an impending storm. The air, thick with the earthy smell of wet soil, crackles with latent electricity, a powerful, natural force threatening to overwhelm their carefully constructed sound. She rushes to the newly built sound booth. Her sound engineer's mind immediately cataloging the vulnerabilities. Outside, the sky has turned an ominous gray-green, and the wind whips at the temporary tarps covering the outdoor stage components. The delicate, vintage electronics are exposed. Water and electricity. The thought sends a shiver of dread down her spine. Her modern assumptions about waterproof casings, outdoor-rated cables, and robust surge protection are completely irrelevant here. This is a frantic battle against nature with rudimentary defenses. She gestures wildly to Walt and Thomas, pointing at the unprotected amplifier on the outdoor stage, then miming the urgent need to unplug everything. Her movements are quick, decisive, her face grim with concern. Walt, his eyes wide with understanding, immediately springs into action, his hands fumbling with thick cables, pulling them from their jacks with a practiced urgency. Thomas, equally agile, starts wrestling with a large canvas tarp, trying to secure it over the speaker stack against the increasingly ferocious wind. The sounds of their frantic efforts, the flapping canvas, the hurried footsteps, the loud pop of a disconnected cable, fill the air with a new, chaotic rhythm. The rain intensifies, a driving sheet that quickly turns the dusty ground into a slick, treacherous mud. She can hear the distinct splattering of water against exposed metal, the ominous sizzle of damp connections. Her hands, nimble and precise, work quickly inside the sound booth, coiling sensitive cables, covering the mixer with a protective cloth, doing everything possible to shield the precious, temperamental equipment from the onslaught. This isn't about achieving perfect sound. It's about preserving any sound, preventing complete electrical failure, protecting the community's nascent audio infrastructure. A large gust of wind tears at one of the stage tarps, sending a cascade of water cascading towards a cluster of microphones. Walt, with a desperate lunge, manages to pull them clear just in time, his face streaked with rain and mud. The shared urgency, the wordless coordination of their movements, creates a powerful, primal bond. This is survival, pure and simple, a stark reminder of humanity's vulnerability against the raw power of the elements. As the worst of the squall passes, leaving behind a dripping, mud-soaked landscape and a chilling silence, She leans against the wall of the sound booth, her chest heaving. Her hair is plastered to her face, her clothes damp, but the equipment, miraculously, appears safe. The frantic battle has ended, at least for now. Her modern self, so accustomed to calling for professional help, or simply ordering new, resilient equipment, finds itself profoundly humbled by the raw, physical effort required here. The sheer exhaustion is bone deep, but it's tempered by a quiet, fierce triumph. The destructive symphony of the storm has been weathered, and the fragile harmony of their sound system, a testament to their collective will, has endured. The chilling reality of nature's power, she realizes, is a constant, humbling baseline in this immersive, unpredictable journey. A sharp, crackling snap cuts through the humid morning air, followed by the acrid scent of burning insulation and ozone. It's late May, week 32 in Bethel, New York, and the aftermath of the sudden downpour has left the outdoor stage area damp and treacherous. The air is thick with the smell of wet earth and the lingering, unsettling odor of electrical damage. She stands near the main power junction for the outdoor stage, her eyes wide with a sudden, icy fear. Her sound engineer's gaze is fixed on a thick, dark cable that snakes across the muddy ground. Where it passes over a sharp rock, the outer insulation has frayed, exposing a tangle of copper wires. A tiny, blue-white spark dances erratically between the exposed strands, sizzling softly against the damp earth. The danger is immediate, palpable, a silent scream of impending disaster. Her modern assumptions about robust safety standards, ground fault circuit interrupters, and double insulated cables are utterly shattered by this stark, visible precariousness. This is not just a technical flaw, it's a direct threat to life. She gestures urgently to Walt, who is nearby, coiling a microphone cable. Her hand points with trembling certainty at the sparking wire, her expression communicating the gravity of the situation without words. His eyes follow her gaze, then widen in sudden understanding, a grim realization dawning on his face. He rushes towards the main power switch, his movements quick and decisive, cutting the power with a heavy clunk. The sparking stops abruptly, plunging the area into a sudden, unnerving silence, broken only by the drip of residual rainwater. Her heart hammers against her ribs. She approaches the damaged cable, her professional instincts overriding her lingering fear. She examines the exposed wires, seeing the subtle signs of short-circuiting, the carbonized residue of burnt insulation, the precariousness of their entire operation, the constant, low-frequency hum of potential danger has just been made terrifyingly manifest. Her skills, once focused on amplifying beauty, are now critically about preventing harm. This isn't a theoretical problem. It's a very real, very present threat to the lives of her community. Thomas, the musician, approaches, his face pale, his eyes wide as he looks at the damaged cable. He shakes his head, then gestures to the overall lack of proper coverings for the outdoor wiring. A silent acknowledgement of the inherent risks of working with such primitive setups. She nods, a grim understanding passing between them. This incident, raw and frightening, reveals the thin margin of safety, the constant, lurking danger that underpins their efforts to bring music and voice to the community as they work together to carefully wrap the exposed wiring with thick, salvaged electrical tape, reinforcing it against future damage. A profound reflection settles upon her. The initial chaos of Woodstock, the danger of the crowd, now pales in comparison to the insidious, ever-present threat of rudimentary electrical systems. Her journey has moved beyond simply adapting to the past. It has become a constant vigil, a relentless application of her modern safety knowledge to prevent tragedy. The precariousness of their work, a silent, buzzing frequency beneath every sound, is a chilling truth, a stark reminder that life in this bygone era demands not just skill and adaptability, but a constant, vigilant awareness of the unseen dangers that lurk in the shadows of progress. The scent of ozone, though fading, leaves a lasting impression, a constant echo of how close they came. The frantic shouts of fire cut through the humid evening air, raw and primal, instantly silencing the gentle strumming from the community hall. It's early June, week 33, in Bethel, New York, and the scent of freshly cut grass is abruptly replaced by the acrid, terrifying smell of burning wood and melting plastic. A flicker of orange light dances erratically at the edge of the old barn. Near where the outdoor stage's main power junction is located, a stark and terrifying visual against the darkening sky. She sees the plume of smoke rising. Her sound engineer's mind immediately grasping the implications. The main power source, the lifeblood of their sound system, is directly threatened. The danger is imminent, not just to the equipment, but to the entire wooden structure of the barn, and potentially the community hall itself. Her modern assumptions about sophisticated fire suppression systems and trained emergency response teams are utterly irrelevant here. This is a visceral, immediate crisis demanding desperate, selfless action. She pushes through the scattering crowd, her gaze fixed on the power junction. Flames are licking at the wooden post where the main electrical lines run, fed by a carelessly discarded cigarette butt or an old pile of dry leaves. Walt and Thomas are already rushing towards it, their faces grim, but they hesitate, clearly unsure how to approach the burning electrical lines safely. Their gestures are frantic, their voices choked with panic. The crackling roar of the fire is growing louder, a terrifying, destructive symphony. Without a moment of hesitation, she grabs a thick, damp canvas tarp she had noticed near the stage. Her heart hammers against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat in her chest. She remembers safety protocols from her own time. Cut the power first. But the main switch is too close to the growing flames. She lunges forward, pulling the heavy, wet tarp over the base of the burning post, smothering the flames that are dangerously close to the main power cables. The intense heat radiates through the canvas, scorching her hands, but she holds on, pressing it down, cutting off the oxygen. The acrid smoke fills her lungs, making her cough violently, her eyes watering. But she doesn't release her grip. Walt and Thomas reach her, their hands grasping the tarp, helping her press it firmly against the smoldering wood. Together, they hold it until the flames, deprived of air, sputter and die, leaving behind only smoldering ash and a lingering, sickening smell of burnt wiring. The immediate danger is averted, but the close call has left them all trembling. Her own hands are blistered and raw, the pain a sharp, persistent reality. As the community gathers around, their faces a mixture of relief and awe. She feels a profound, almost primal understanding of sacrifice. Her modern self, so focused on individual comfort and safety, is now replaced by a person willing to risk everything for the well-being of this community and the fragile infrastructure they've built. The fear of altering history, once a heavy ethical burden, now feels almost insignificant compared to the immediate, visceral need to protect life and livelihood. This selfless act, born of an unexpected connection to this past, resonates with a deep, quiet truth. It's a powerful understanding that her survival here is not just about her own existence, but about her capacity to protect, to serve, to belong, even at great personal cost. The lingering scent of smoke, though acrid, also carries the subtle, potent aroma of heroism. The cool, metallic tang of the microphone in her hand feels like a familiar weapon, a silent extension of her will. It's mid-June, week 34 in Bethel, New York, and the summer heat is beginning to settle, carrying the sweet scent of honeysuckle and the distant buzz of insects. She stands on the outdoor stage, testing a newly repaired input, the sound crisp and clear. But the air around her is thick with an unspoken tension, a low-frequency hum of impending confrontation. A new figure has arrived in town, a self-proclaimed sound expert from a larger nearby city, drawn by the whispers of the community's remarkably clear audio. He stands off to the side, a man in a sharp, if slightly outdated, suit, his gaze sweeping over their humble setup with a disdainful air. His posture is stiff, his arms crossed, a clear challenge in his narrowed eyes. This isn't the simple envy of Frank. This is the confident, dismissive skepticism of a rival. A man whose professional pride is threatened by an unknown, uncredentialed woman's success. He gestures towards the sound booth, then to her, a sneer twisting his lips. His movements communicate a clear message. Who is this amateur, and what magic tricks is she playing? Her modern assumptions about open dialogue and professional collaboration are abruptly shattered by this territorial aggression. Here, in this era, a woman in a technical role, especially one who seemingly achieves the impossible, is an anomaly, a challenge to the established male-dominated order. This isn't just about sound anymore. It's about defending her competence, her presence, her very place in this community. She walks calmly towards him, the heavy microphone still clutched in her hand. Her gaze is steady, unwavering. She points to a speaker, then to the mixing board, then to the precisely coiled cables. Her gestures a silent, confident declaration of her understanding, her meticulous work. She knows every inch of this system, every subtle enhancement she has made. Her modern knowledge of phase relationships, impedance matching, and acoustic treatment, translated into practical, tangible improvements, is her defense. She conveys, without words, the logic behind her innovations, demonstrating that this isn't magic, but applied science. Walt and Thomas stand a little closer, their expressions watchful, their quiet presence a powerful, unspoken support. Frank, surprisingly, stands with them, his own gaze now fixed on the rival, a shared defiance in his posture. The shared crisis of the fire, her selfless act, has forged a bond that transcends their previous friction. This is her community, and they are silently backing her. The rival engineer's sneer falters, replaced by a grudging respect as he observes the undeniable clarity of the sound, the meticulous organization of the cables, the thoughtful design of the sound booth. He points to the rewired speaker, a gesture of grudging curiosity. She offers a small, knowing nod, a silent acknowledgement of his belated recognition. The confrontation, though unspoken, is a victory. Her courage to defend her work, to assert her knowledge, resonates with a deep, powerful truth. As the rival engineer, his face now etched with a mixture of bewilderment and reluctant admiration, finally turns and walks away. She feels a profound sense of empowerment. The metallic coolness of the microphone in her hand, once a weapon, now feels like a symbol of her rightful place. Her journey of adaptation has now extended beyond merely surviving or contributing. It has become a struggle for validation, for recognition, for defending the subtle revolution she has brought to this past. The challenge, she realizes, is not just about bringing better sound, but about ensuring that those who hear it understand its value and respect its source, a truth that echoes with a clear, resonant pride, the deep, resonant hum of the rewired amplifier, a steady, warm vibration beneath her fingertips, now feels like an extension of her own heartbeat. It's late June, week 35 in Bethel, New York, and the long, sun-drenched days of summer are in full swing. Carrying the sweet scent of hay and wildflowers on the gentle breeze, she stands within the newly constructed sound booth, the polished wood smooth beneath her hands, meticulously balancing the inputs for a bustling summer fair performance. The air outside is alive with the chatter of excited crowds, the distant, joyful screams from children on a makeshift swing ride, and the vibrant, amplified folk music emanating from the stage. Her sound engineer's ears, once so critical and demanding of digital perfection, now perceive a profound beauty in the analog warmth, the organic presence of the sound she helps create, the subtle crackle of a tube amplifier, the rich texture of a vintage microphone, the slight, natural reverb of the community hall. These are not flaws, but character, depth, the very essence of real sound. Her modern assumptions about sterile, hyper-engineered audio have completely dissolved, replaced by a deep appreciation for the raw, living pulse of live performance in this era. She no longer struggles to bridge the gap between her past and present understanding. The two have merged, creating a new, holistic approach to sound. She watches Thomas, the musician, on stage, his guitar ringing out with a clarity that still brings a visible smile to his face. He glances over, a flicker of shared understanding passing between them, a silent acknowledgement of their collaborative triumph. Even Frank, the stage manager, she notices, is now directing stagehands with a more relaxed demeanor. His earlier resentment having largely evaporated in the face of undeniable success and shared challenges. There's a newfound ease in their interactions, a mutual respect earned through shared effort and crisis. Her interventions, once cautious and subtle, are now openly appreciated, her magic seen as valuable expertise. Her fingers move across the mixing board, adjusting, fine-tuning, not striving for an unattainable perfection, but for an optimal balance that enhances the inherent warmth and energy of the music. The booth, which she designed and helped build, feels like her true domain, a tangible manifestation of her skills and her belonging. She remembers the initial shock of waking up in 1969, the overwhelming sense of being an alien, adrift in time. She recalls the gnawing fear, the deep yearning for her own era, her own technology, her own life. But now, as the vibrant harmony of the music fills the air, as the crowd sways and claps, a profound realization settles deep within her. This makeshift engineer, resourceful and vital in this analog world, is who she truly was meant to be. The sterile hum of her future studio, the isolated glow of her digital screens, now feel distant, almost unreal. Here, her hands are dirty, her mind constantly challenged, her connections deeply human, and her impact immediate and tangible. This chaotic, soulful, vibrant existence, where every sound tells a story, feels like the most authentic version of herself, a self that was perhaps lost in the polished perfection of the future. A deep sense of peace, profound and undeniable, washes over her. The journey through time, once a terrifying displacement, has become an unexpected path to self-discovery, to a truer identity. She hasn't just adapted to this era, she has found her essential self within it. The sound, resonating with warmth and clarity, isn't just a mix she created. It's the symphony of her own purpose, a powerful, undeniable truth that vibrates through her very being, confirming her rightful place in this unexpected, extraordinary life. The soft, rhythmic chirping of crickets outside the window, a gentle chorus accompanying the distant hoot of an owl, creates a peaceful, natural evening symphony. It's early July, week 36 in Bethel, New York, and the warm summer air carries the sweet scent of blooming night jasmine and damp earth. She sits on the porch of her small cabin, the rough wood cool beneath her skin, a steaming mug of herbal tea cradled in her hands. The day has been long, filled with the bustling preparations for an upcoming outdoor concert, and the quiet of the evening offers a moment for profound reflection. Her sound engineers' ears, now intimately attuned to the natural world, effortlessly discern the layers of ambient sound. The rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze, the distant bark of a dog, the subtle creak of the old house settling, each sound a unique, uncompressed frequency in the immersive symphony of this bygone era. She remembers the sterile, almost silent control rooms of her past life, the digital readouts, the precise acoustic baffling. That world, once her reality, now feels like a distant dream, a memory lacking the rich, organic texture of her present. Her modern assumptions about environmental control and sonic isolation have completely evaporated, replaced by an embrace of raw, living sound. She traces a pattern on the condensation of her mug, her mind drifting back to the mud-soaked fields of Woodstock, the chaotic roar, the pervasive static, the sheer overwhelming nature of that first week feels like a lifetime ago. She recalls the dread, the fear, the isolation of being utterly lost in time. Then, the gradual adaptation, the discovery of her skills, the tentative connections with Walt and Thomas, the quiet triumph of rewiring a faulty amplifier, the profound satisfaction of building the sound booth. Each step, each challenge, each small victory has woven itself into the fabric of her new identity. Her hands, now strong and calloused, reflect the physical labor and the intimate connection to the analog world she inhabits. Her mind, once fixed on complex algorithms and digital signal processing, now thrives on ingenious improvisation and a deep, intuitive understanding of basic physics. The journey from the pristine, controlled environment of a modern studio to the vibrant, unpredictable, mud-soaked grounds of a 1969 festival has been more than a physical displacement. It has been a profound re-education of her senses, her skills, her very soul. As the moon begins to rise, casting long, silvery shadows across the field, she feels a deep sense of gratitude, the fear of altering history, while a constant undercurrent is now balanced by the undeniable good she has brought to this community. She has not just survived, she has thrived, finding a purpose and a belonging that transcends time itself. The perceived chaos of Woodstock, that initial bewildering assault, has transformed into a foundational memory, a testament to resilience and the enduring power of human connection. Even amidst technical imperfection, a profound, quiet truth settles upon her. Her journey was not just to 1969, but through it, forging a new self, richer and more grounded than she ever imagined possible. The distance from her old life is now measured not just in years, but in the depth of her transformation. The simple, organic symphony of this bygone era, with all its challenges and its profound beauty, has become her truest home, a soundscape that resonates with an undeniable, comforting sense of destiny fulfilled. The reflection on her journey is not a summation, but a profound affirmation. She is exactly where she is meant to be, a vital part of this vibrant, living past. The crisp, clear thump of a bass drum, perfectly resonating through the open field, travels through her to the very ground she shares with Walt. It's late July, week 37 in Bethel, New York, and the air is thick with the sweet, heady scent of freshly mown hay and the buzzing drone of summer insects. A gentle breeze rustles the leaves of the ancient oak trees that frame the outdoor stage, creating a natural, verdant backdrop for the local summer concert. She stands beside Walt, both of them at the edge of the newly upgraded outdoor sound system. It's a significant improvement from the rickety setup of last summer, largely due to her subtle guidance and the community's collective effort. The speakers are elevated on sturdier platforms. The cables are better managed and insulated, and the mixing console, though still vintage, hums with a refined efficiency. Her sound engineers' ears, now completely attuned to the warmth and character of analog audio, revel in the rich, vibrant sound they are producing together. A young man on stage, tuning his bass guitar, plays a deep, resonant note. She glances at Walt, then makes a small, almost imperceptible gesture with her thumb and forefinger, indicating a slight adjustment to the low-end frequency. Walt, without a word, catches her signal, his eyes already on the appropriate knob. His fingers move with a practiced ease, making the subtle tweak. The bass note, already good, gains a new depth, a fuller, more rounded presence that vibrates deep in her chest. A quiet, knowing smile touches Walt's lips as he meets her gaze. It's a shared victory, a profound, unspoken understanding forged through months of collaboration, challenges, and mutual respect. Her modern assumptions about individual achievement and proprietary knowledge have long faded. Here, their work is a seamless dance, a collaboration of instinct, experience, and her subtly applied future knowledge. There is no need for lengthy explanations, no need to defend her magic. Walt now implicitly trusts her judgment, recognizing the tangible improvements she brings. Their partnership, a blend of his local knowledge and her technical expertise, has become the bedrock of the community's burgeoning music scene. Her ability to translate complex audio principles into practical, understandable actions has not only made her indispensable, but has also earned her a place of profound respect and affection. The sounds of the musicians warming up, the distant chatter of the gathering crowd, the subtle creak of the wooden stage underfoot. All these elements weave into a tapestry of sound that she and Walt are meticulously balancing. This isn't just a job, it's a shared passion, a mutual dedication to making sure every note, every voice resonates with the clearest possible truth. As the sun begins its slow descent, painting the sky with hues of orange and gold, Walt turns to her again, his smile widening as the final soundcheck note rings out with a beautiful, sustained clarity. He nods, a deep, contented sigh escaping his lips. In that moment, a final, resonant chord of understanding passes between them, deeper than any amplified sound. It's a recognition of their shared journey, their triumphs, their unique partnership. The profound truth of her adaptation and belonging in this past, she realizes, is not found in a single event, but in the steady, unwavering harmony of such a deep and cherished connection. The silence that follows the music, she knows, is pregnant with the promise of more beautiful sounds created together. The scent of warm summer rain recently passed clings to the air, mingling with the earthy aroma of damp soil and blooming wildflowers. It's early August, week 38 in Bethel, New York, and the world outside is a vibrant, verdant tapestry, echoing the lush chaos of a year ago. She stands at the edge of the original Woodstock field, the legendary site now reclaimed by nature, its undulations still carrying the faint, ghost-like hum of a million voices. A year has passed since she first woke to the roar of a distant crowd, and the physical space now holds a profound, almost spiritual significance for her. Her sound engineers ears, once so assaulted by the cacophony of that first week, now perceive a different kind of sound from the field, the gentle rustle of tall grass in the breeze, the distant, clear call of a bird, the quiet pulse of nature reclaiming its own. It's an ambient symphony of peace and memory. She walks slowly, her feet tracing the phantom pathways where thousands once moved, her mind replaying the vibrant, messy, powerful history she witnessed, and against all odds, subtly influenced her modern assumptions about her own identity, about her specific role in a hyper-technological future, have completely dissolved. She closes her eyes, letting the ghost of the music wash over her. Jimi Hendrix's soaring guitar, Janis Joplin's raw wail, the collective shouts for peace. It's no longer a documentary she observed. It's a living, breathing memory she was part of, a story to which she contributed a unique, anachronistic chapter. Her contributions, the rewired speakers, the optimized cables, the basic acoustic treatments, had not overtly changed the historical event itself, but they had undoubtedly enhanced the experience for countless people, making the music clearer, the message more resonant. She had quietly, subtly, helped make history sound better. A profound realization settles upon her, deeper and more resonant than any sound she has ever mixed. Her identity, once so defined by her modern profession, has expanded. She is not just a sound engineer from the future. She is a part of Woodstock's soul, an invisible thread woven into its legendary fabric. Her journey has transcended the mere application of skills. It has become an embodiment of the era's spirit, the idealism, the improvisation, the belief in the power of music to connect and transform. Her hands, strong and capable, feel a deep satisfaction, a testament to a life lived fully, authentically, in an unexpected time. As the afternoon sun begins its slow descent, painting the field in golden hues, she opens her eyes, her gaze sweeping over the landscape. The quiet hum of the field, a natural, spiritual frequency, fills her with an overwhelming sense of belonging. The longing for her original time, once a constant ache, has now completely receded, replaced by a profound, unshakable acceptance of her present. She is home. This land, these people, this unique moment in history are her reality, her purpose, her very essence. Her reflection is not one of a person lost in time, but of a person found. She realizes that her presence here, her quiet dedication to making sound clearer, has allowed the resonant messages of peace and love to travel further, to touch more hearts, to echo more loudly through the generations. She is no longer just a spectator to history. She is a living, breathing part of its continuous, unfolding melody. This profound understanding This acceptance of her new identity is the most powerful, harmonious chord she has ever heard, a truth that sings deep within her soul. She is undeniably a part of Woodstock's soul, the gentle swish of a guitar pick against nylon strings, amplified with a warmth and clarity that feels both authentic to the era and remarkably pristine. Now fills the community hall. It's mid-August, week 39 in Bethel, New York, and the lingering heat of summer is beginning to mellow, carrying the scent of drying herbs and distant wood smoke. She sits at the mixing board, her fingers moving with confident familiarity, balancing the tones for a new generation of local musicians. The equipment, a year older, continues to perform with a consistent, enhanced quality, a testament to her quiet, lasting work. Her sound engineers' ears perceive the evolution. The local bands sound better, their performances more polished, their messages more articulate. She sees how Thomas, now a more seasoned musician, coaches younger players on microphone technique, instinctively demonstrating the benefits of proper placement she had taught him through gestures. The seeds she planted, the subtle knowledge she shared, have taken root and begun to blossom, creating a ripple effect that extends far beyond her immediate control. This isn't about specific inventions, it's about a foundational shift in understanding, a quiet revolution in the local perception of what good sound can be. She watches as Walt, now a trusted and indispensable partner, meticulously wraps a newly repaired microphone cable with fresh electrical tape, his movements reflecting a new level of care and precision. He glances at her, a shared smile passing between them, a silent acknowledgement of their collective achievement. Frank, the erstwhile stage manager, now often seeks her advice on technical layouts for events, his former resentment replaced by a genuine reliance on her expertise. Her integration into the community is complete, her skills not just accepted, but actively sought out and valued. Her modern assumptions about the need for rapid technological advancement have been reshaped. She realizes that truly lasting impact isn't always about revolutionary gadgets, but about empowering people with fundamental knowledge and improved techniques that they can then adopt and adapt themselves. Her contribution isn't a single, shining invention, but a subtle, pervasive enhancement that has raised the bar for audio quality in this small corner of the music world, nudging its natural progression gently forward. The legacy, she understands, is in the shared knowledge, the improved practices, and the generations of clearer music that will follow. As the music swells, filling the hall with a vibrant, unadulterated energy, she closes her eyes, letting the sound wash over her. She feels the distinct vibrations of the bass, the crispness of the hi-hats, the rich texture of the vocals, all coming together in a harmonious blend. The fear of altering history has transformed into a profound sense of having enriched it, adding a deeper, more resonant layer to its already vibrant tapestry. Her subtle interventions, carefully measured and thoughtfully applied, have become a lasting gift. A deep, quiet satisfaction settles within her, a profound understanding of her unique role. The music playing now, clear and powerful, is not just a performance. It is the living legacy of her journey, a testament to the enduring power of sound, subtly refined to touch hearts and minds. She is not just a transient visitor to the past. She is a quiet architect of its sonic future, a guardian of its auditory integrity. Her greatest contribution, she realizes, is not what she built, but what she enabled others to hear, a lasting echo in the evolving symphony of the music world. The cool, damp whisper of pre-dawn air, carrying the faint, sweet scent of lingering wood smoke and dew-kissed grass, brushes against her face. It's early August, week 40 in Bethel, New York, just over a year since she first arrived. The last echoes of an outdoor concert, a local celebration that stretched deep into the night, have finally faded, leaving behind a profound quiet that feels less like emptiness and more like a peaceful exhale. She sits on the steps of the community hall, her fingers absently tracing the rough grain of the wood, watching the first blush of orange creep across the eastern sky. Her sound engineers ears, now perfectly calibrated to this world, effortlessly filter the subtle symphony of the awakening day. The distant crow of a rooster, the gentle rustle of leaves, the soft gurgle of a nearby stream. Each sound is pristine, uncompressed, entirely authentic. There are no buzzing fluorescents, no distant traffic hum, no digital artifacts. This is the raw, living audio of 1970. A soundscape she has not only learned to navigate, but has profoundly come to cherish. Her modern assumptions about technology and convenience, about the constant need for digital perfection, have been entirely reshaped, replaced by a deep reverence for the organic, the analog, the truly present. She feels the subtle ache in her muscles from a night of managing the outdoor sound, the lingering warmth of the vacuum tubes still radiating from the mixing board inside the booth she helped build. Her hands, once soft and accustomed to keyboards and touchscreens, are now calloused, strong, and intimately familiar with the weight of heavy cables. The feel of a soldering iron, the subtle click of vintage switches, each scar, each mark, is a testament to a year of adaptation, a physical manifestation of her journey. The challenges she once faced, the frantic battles against nature, the delicate dance of human ego and curiosity, now feel like distant milestones on a long, winding road that has led her to this quiet, powerful moment. She thinks of Walt his booming laugh, his unwavering trust. She thinks of Thomas, his eager curiosity, his blossoming talent. She thinks of Frank, his grudging respect, his eventual acceptance. This community, once a collection of bewildering strangers, is now her family, her anchor in a time that was never meant to be hers. Her skills, once a secret and a source of ethical conflict, have become her gift, her currency of connection, her quiet contribution to a world that has given her so much more than she could have ever anticipated. The idea of revolutionizing live sound amid chaos and idealism has materialized, not in grand, anachronistic inventions, but in subtle enhancements, in clearer voices, in more resonant melodies that have uplifted spirits and strengthened bonds. As the sun fully crests the horizon, painting the world in warm, golden light, she takes a deep, contented breath. The air smells clean, fresh, full of promise. The fear of being lost in time, that cold, gnawing dread, has been entirely replaced by a profound, unwavering sense of belonging. Her old life, the future she left behind, now feels like a faded photograph, a dream that barely holds substance against the vibrant reality of her present. This is her home now. This is her life, and it is richer, more authentic, more real than anything she ever imagined. A quiet, confident resolve settles over her. The music of the past night has faded, but the day is just beginning, filled with its own unique symphony of challenges and opportunities. She is ready for the next faulty cable, the next temperamental amplifier, the next local talent to amplify. Ready for the next improvisation, the next quiet contribution, the next moment of genuine connection in this chaotic, soulful, and utterly beloved bygone era. The journey has not ended.